My name is Mara Ellison. I was 31 years old when my family called me a thief while my grandmother's sealed will sat unopened 3 feet away. My brother Daniel laid 6 copied bank statements on the lawyer's table as if he were dealing cards. My mother folded her hands beside them. My father stared at the dark carpet. 11 relatives watched me from polished chairs that smelled faintly of dust and furniture oil. Daniel said I had taken $8,400 from Grandma Ruth during the last year of her life. He said it calmly. That made it worse. Before that afternoon ended, the people who had come expecting to watch me lose my inheritance had lost the one thing they believed belonged to them without question, their version of our family. The lawyer did not argue with Daniel. He did not defend me. He only asked whether Daniel wanted his accusation formally entered into the estate record. Daniel said yes. Then the lawyer reached into a locked case, removed a small black drive, and pressed play. What appeared on the conference room screen made my mother stop breathing for 8 full seconds. I counted them. But I need to back up. The truth did not begin at the will reading. It began years earlier, in smaller rooms, with smaller insults, while everyone was still pretending we were a close family. Some truths do not need a raised voice. They need patience, dignity, and a record that cannot be rearranged. If you have ever been blamed because you were the quietest person in the room, you will understand why this story stayed with me. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from, and subscribe if you believe calm people deserve to have their side heard too. Now let me tell you where it really started. I grew up in a narrow brick house on Hawthorne Lane in a town called Bellwether, Ohio. The house had green shutters my mother repainted every 4 years, whether they needed it or not. She liked schedules, matching towels, framed school photographs, and family stories that made her look generous. My mother's name was Celeste. She never yelled when a quiet sentence could do more damage. She could move a serving dish half an inch and make you feel you had ruined dinner. She could sigh while folding napkins and somehow turn the whole room against you. She could tell a story about something kind she had done, leave out the part where someone else paid for it, and receive thanks with a modest little shake of her head. People called her elegant. I learned early that elegant cruelty confused witnesses. My father, Peter, worked for the city utilities office for 36 years. He knew water lines, service maps, and which neighborhoods had pipes older than the houses above them. At home, he knew when to lower his eyes. He was not cruel in the way my mother was. That had once made me defend him. Later, I understood that silence could become a tool in someone else's hand. My brother Daniel was 4 years older than me. He was the person strangers remembered after a party. Tall, neat hair, quick smile, a hand on your shoulder before he asked for something. He knew how to make attention feel like affection. When Daniel was 12, he broke the back window of our father's car with a baseball. My mother said the neighborhood boys had been playing carelessly. When I was 9, I spilled grape juice on a cream rug. My mother made me scrub it for 40 minutes while Daniel sat on the stairs eating crackers. The stain came out. The story did not. For years, she introduced me to relatives by saying, Mara was always our difficult little dreamer. I was not difficult. I remembered things. That was different. I remembered that Daniel received a used car for his 16th birthday, while I was told a bus pass would teach me responsibility. I remembered that my college acceptance letter sat unopened on the kitchen counter for 2 days because Daniel had lost an intramural basketball game and needed encouragement. I remembered the exact words my mother used when I told her I had earned a full academic scholarship. That's nice, honey. Your brother has always been the people person, though. I did not know what one fact had to do with the other. I smiled anyway. That became a habit. By the time I left for college, my family had decided who each of us was. Daniel was bold. I was cautious. Daniel was charming. I was awkward. Daniel took risks. I worried too much. Daniel had potential. I was dependable. Dependable sounded like praise until I noticed it was the word they used when they needed something carried, checked, cleaned, paid, remembered, or kept secret. My grandmother Ruth was the only person who seemed to hear what was hidden inside that word. She was my father's mother. She lived 12 minutes away in a pale yellow house on Alder Street, where the porch leaned slightly to the left and the kitchen albu. A smelled like coffee, beeswax, and cinnamon gum. Grandma Ruth was 5 feet 2 inches tall and owned 17 cardigans. I counted them once while helping her reorganize a cedar closet. She wore lipstick every day, even to take out the trash. She kept cash in labeled envelopes and wrote the date on every receipt. She had worked for 29 years as the payroll clerk at a machine parts factory before retiring. She trusted numbers because numbers, in her words, did not become offended when questioned. When I was 11, she taught me how to balance a checkbook at her kitchen table. She drew one straight line down the center of a yellow legal pad and told me money had 2 stories: where it came from, where it went. If those stories do not match, she said, somebody is hoping you will not look twice. I looked twice at everything after that. At school, I liked math because there was comfort in a correct answer. Not easy comfort. Earned comfort. Numbers could hide things, but they could also reveal them. A single payment meant little. 6 payments in the same amount, made every second Friday to slightly different names, meant something else. I became interested in patterns. At 22, I graduated with a degree in accounting. At 25, I completed the exams required for my professional certification. At 28, I joined a small forensic accounting firm called Mercer Hale Advisory. My job was to trace money through confusion. Sometimes a business owner suspected an employee was taking cash. Sometimes siblings fought over an estate. Sometimes a nonprofit had missing donations and 3 years of statements no one had read carefully. I did not kick down doors. I opened spreadsheets. I compared dates. I followed signatures, vendor names, deposit slips, and excuses. My family did not understand what I did. They also did not try. At Thanksgiving, when I had been promoted to senior investigator, Daniel raised his glass and said, "Tamara, the family's little receipt girl." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. I counted 5 people who looked away afterward. Grandma Ruth did not laugh. She set down her fork and asked me how many cases I was supervising. 4 right now, I said. Any difficult ones? One involving a property company with payments routed through temporary vendors. Daniel made a sleepy face. My mother smiled at him. Grandma Ruth leaned toward me. And did you find where the money went? Yes. How? The payments looked different at first. Different vendor names, different invoice numbers. But the mailing addresses were all connected to the same post office box. Grandma nodded slowly. So you noticed what everybody else dismissed. That sentence stayed with me longer than the toast. After college, I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment above a tailor's shop on Benton Avenue. The floors tilted toward the windows. The bathroom radiator knocked every morning at 6:10. The rent was $925 a month, including water. My mother told people I lived over a store, as if I slept on a shelf between winter coats. Daniel bought a house with his wife, Brooke, in a new development called Willowcrest. 4 bedrooms, gray siding, stone around the garage. Their mortgage payment was nearly 3 times my rent. At family gatherings, my mother spoke about the house as though Daniel had designed and built it himself. She did not mention that my parents had given him $48,000 for the down payment. I knew, because my father once left a folder open on the dining room table. I did not ask for equal money. I wanted equal truth. That was always the harder thing to get. Daniel worked in commercial property sales. He had business cards with thick paper and raised lettering. He described every deal as huge, even when nothing had been signed. He changed cars every 2 years. He ordered wine by pointing at the second highest price on the menu. He called our parents every Sunday evening, usually while driving somewhere, and spoke just loudly enough for them to believe important people were waiting for him. My mother adored his motion. Stillness made her nervous. I was still. She mistook that for having nowhere to go. By the time I turned 30, I had saved enough to buy a small 2-bedroom bungalow on Wren Street. The house was built in 1948 and needed a new water heater, roof repairs, and patience. I paid $186,000. I put down 20%. I told my parents over dinner at a restaurant called the Copper Table. My father looked surprised. You bought it by yourself? Yes. Daniel smiled into his glass. You could have asked me about the neighborhood. I researched it. You always research everything. My mother reached across the table and touched my wrist. We just worry that you make these decisions without including the family. I looked at Daniel. No one had asked to be included when he bought his house. What would you have advised me to do? I asked. She paused. That was the problem with specific questions. They removed the furniture from her sentences. Well, she said, it is done now. My father asked what the interest rate was. I told him. His eyebrows lifted. It was lower than Daniel's. Daniel changed the subject. Grandma Ruth came to see the bungalow the following Saturday. She arrived with a spider plant, a toolbox, and an envelope containing $200. I tried to refuse the money. She placed the envelope on the empty fireplace mantel. It is not for the house, she said. It is for the first unexpected thing that breaks. The first unexpected thing was the washing machine hose. It cost $38.17. I wrote the amount on the envelope before using the rest for a replacement kitchen faucet. Grandma saw the envelope months later and laughed so hard she had to. Oh, sit down. You wrote on it? You taught me to. I taught you to keep records. I did not know you would keep them on everything. You gave me cash. That was my mistake. It was easy with her. That is what I missed most later. Nothing had to be translated. Around that time, our Sunday visits became regular. I went to her house at about 10 in the morning, brought coffee from a bakery on Lyle Street, and stayed until early afternoon. She drank plain coffee with half a teaspoon of sugar. I drank mine with too much milk. We sat at the kitchen table beneath a clock shaped like a red apple. Some Sundays we sorted mail. Some Sundays I changed light bulbs, tightened cupboard handles, or drove her to the garden center. She always bought more potting soil than she could lift. She grew African violets in the east window and complained when they bloomed for anyone but her. She was 78 then, healthy enough to live alone, sharp enough to remember what every grandchild had borrowed and which ones had returned it. Daniel visited too, though not as often as he later claimed. His visits were shorter. He arrived with bakery boxes, took photographs, and left before the coffee cooled. My mother came on Wednesdays. She cleaned surfaces that were already clean, moved Ruth's belongings, and told her what she should stop doing. You do not need all these old statements. You should let Daniel handle the online accounts. You cannot keep climbing the basement stairs. You should sign the house over before taxes become complicated. Grandma Ruth reported these comments to me without changing her expression. What did you say? I asked once. I told her my basement stairs have been here longer than she has. I laughed. Grandma did not. She wants to help, I said. Celeste wants to arrange. There was a difference. The first time Grandma showed me the blue ledger, rain was tapping against the kitchen window. It was March 14th. I remembered because the bakery had decorated its paper cups with tiny green hats for the upcoming holiday. Grandma was quieter than usual. She had opened 3 envelopes before I arrived and placed them beneath the sugar bowl. I noticed because the sugar bowl was never in the center of the table. She kept it near the wall so she would not knock it over. What is under there? I asked. Sit down first. I am sitting. Then drink your coffee. I took one sip. She watched me set down the cup. Good enough. She reached beneath the sugar bowl and pulled out 3 bank statements. Each had a yellow tab attached. I want you to look at these without deciding what they mean. That was how she spoke when she was afraid. Not emotionally, precisely. I took the first statement. Her checking account showed a withdrawal of $7,500 made 6 weeks earlier. The description said home improvement transfer. Did you hire someone? I paid a man $200 to repair the porch rail. Was that paid from this account? Yes, by. Check. This is not that. I looked at the other statements. There was another transfer for $6,800, then one for $9,200. The descriptions were similar. home maintenance, property service, residential improvement. Do you recognize the names? No. Did you authorize Daniel to pay bills from this account? She pressed her lips together. I gave him access when the bank changed its website. He said I needed help with passwords. When was that? Last summer. Does he have permission to move money without asking you? No. Does anyone else have the password? Your mother might. She stood beside him when he set it up. I placed the statements side by side. The transfers were not identical, but the wording looked constructed, different enough to seem separate, similar enough to suggest the same purpose. Did you ask Daniel? Not yet. Why not? Because he explains before I finish asking. That sounded like him. What do you want me to do? Tell me whether I forgot. I looked at her. She was not asking about the transactions. She was asking whether her mind had become unreliable. Grandma, these statements cannot tell me that. I know. But I can help you find out whether the payments were authorized. Her shoulders lowered slightly. Without making a circus? Yes. Without Celeste arriving with casseroles and tears? Yes. Without Daniel telling everyone I am confused? I paused. I cannot control what he tells people. No. But you can control what you write down. She stood, walked to the narrow cabinet beside the refrigerator, and removed a blue leather ledger. It was about the size of a paperback book. The cover was worn pale at the corners. A thin elastic band held it shut. I started this in August, she said. Inside were dates, amounts, names, notes, and small squares beside items she had confirmed. August 8th. Daniel changed online banking password. August 22nd, $4,500 transfer. Asked D. He said roof inspection. August 23, no roof inspector came. September 11th, $3,900. Description. Exterior consultation. September 14th, D. Said payment reversed. Not reversed as of October statement. Her handwriting was straight and careful. She had recorded phone calls, visits, and missing documents. She had written down the time Daniel arrived at the house and how long he stayed. You have been tracking this for 7 months? I was waiting to see if I was wrong. Why did you not tell me earlier? You have your own life. That is not an answer. It is the answer old women use when they do not want to admit they were embarrassed. I closed the ledger gently. You have nothing to be embarrassed about. I let him into the account. You trusted your grandson. Yes. That is not a crime. No, she said. But sometimes it is an expense. I asked whether I could take copies of the statements. She said no, not yet. She wanted me to review them at her house where she could see what I was doing. I respected that. For the next 2 hours, we compared her ledger with 12 months of bank records. 7 transfers did not match any bill she remembered approving. The total was $41,300. I wrote the figure on a separate sheet and turned it toward her. She stared at it. The Apple clock clicked behind us. 1 second, 2, 3, 4. At 7 seconds, she lifted her eyes. Do not tell your father. I expected her to say Daniel. Why Dad? Because Peter will tell himself he is staying neutral. Then he will tell Celeste he is worried. Then Celeste will call Daniel before dinner. She knew her son. What about the bank? Not yet. Grandma. I want to know what happened before everyone starts deciding what happened for me. That was reasonable. It was also dangerous. Not physically, procedurally. Once people suspected financial abuse, every delay became part of the story. Every conversation mattered. Every document could disappear. I explained that I was her granddaughter, not her hired investigator. I could help her organize records, but if the situation became serious, she needed independent legal and financial advice. She nodded. I expected you to say that. You did? That is why I asked you instead of Daniel. There it was again. She trusted me because I would tell her what I could not do. That afternoon, I created a simple list. Date, amount, payment description, her recollection, available supporting document, person with account access. I left the list with her in the blue ledger. Before I went home, she walked me to the porch. The rain had stopped. Water hung from the bare branches over Alder Street. Do not worry yet, I told her. I am not worried. You move the sugar bowl. She looked back through the kitchen window. So I did. That was the first time I understood she was genuinely afraid. For the next month, we worked quietly. I came on Sundays as usual. I never brought my office laptop. I never accessed her bank account myself. I asked her to request printed records directly from the bank so there could be no argument later about where the documents came from. She liked that. Clean hands, she said. Clean process. Same thing. Not always. She smiled. We found 3 contractor invoices in a folder Daniel had created. The companies had ordinary names. Northridge Property Care, Elston Residential Services, Hearthline Consulting. All 3 invoices used the same phone number format. All 3 listed post office boxes in neighboring towns. 2 contained the same spelling error in the phrase materials and labor. I circled it. Grandma leaned close. Someone cannot spell? Someone copied the same template. Daniel? I do not know. You think it. I think the invoices may be connected. She sat back. You always leave space between what you know and what you suspect. I have to. Your mother hates space. I knew what she meant. My mother filled uncertainty immediately. If someone was late, they were disrespectful. If they disagreed, they were ungrateful. If they asked for time, they were hiding something. She created conclusions before facts could inconvenience her. Grandma Ruth called it rearranging the room. She moves every chair, Grandma once said, until the only place left for you is outside. That became our private language. After a family dinner, Grandma would ask, "Did you notice the chairs?" I always did. The first clear wound of that year happened at my father's 63rd birthday dinner. My mother hosted it at their house. She cooked pot roast, glazed carrots, and potatoes with enough butter to shine beneath the dining room light. There were 12 of us. Daniel arrived 25 minutes late with an expensive bottle of bourbon. He kissed our mother on the cheek and told our father he had almost missed dinner because a client would not stop calling. My mother told him not to apologize. I had arrived an hour early to help set the table. No one told me not to apologize when I once arrived 6 minutes late because of snow. Grandma Ruth sat beside me. She wore a dark green cardigan and the silver brooch her sister had given her in 1971. During dinner, my Aunt Lorraine asked how often I visited Grandma. Most Sundays, I said. My mother looked up from cutting her carrots. Mara has become very attentive lately. Her tone was light. The table did not hear the blade at first. Grandma did. So she has, Grandma said. Daniel smiled. Smart timing. I turned toward him. For what? He lifted one shoulder. Grandma is the last property owner in the family without a mortgage. Aunt Lorraine laughed uncertainly. My mother touched Daniel's arm. Do not tease your sister. Then she looked at me. You know how it might appear, honey. What might appear? All the visits. Helping with paperwork. Asking about accounts. I felt Grandma's hand become still beside her plate. I do not ask about her accounts unless she asks me to. I did ask her, Grandma said. My mother gave Ruth a patient smile. No one said you did not. You said it might appear. Celeste dabbed the corner of her mouth with a napkin. We are only being careful. Families have to be careful when money is involved. Daniel drank his bourbon. My father studied his plate. Grandma set down her fork. I asked Mara because she understands records. Daniel laughed softly. She understands receipts. The difference between the two may become important, Grandma said. Silence moved across the table. I counted 3 seconds before my mother rescued Daniel. Peter, tell everyone about the retirement dinner. The room turned, just like that. Another chair moved. After dessert, I carried dishes into the kitchen. My mother followed me. She closed the swinging door with her hip. You did not need to let Ruth embarrass Daniel. I stared at her. Daniel accused me of visiting Grandma for money. He was joking. He was not. Mara, this is what I mean. You hold on to the worst version of everything. No. I remember the exact version. Her eyes sharpened. For half a second, her face lost its softness. Then it returned. We all want what is best for Ruth. Then stop suggesting I'm taking advantage of her. No one suggested that. She had done it less than 10 minutes earlier. The kitchen smelled like dish soap and roasted meat. Water ran over my fingers as I rinsed a serving spoon. I could have argued. Instead, I asked one question. Why did you say my visits looked suspicious? She adjusted the cuff of her blouse. I said people might misunderstand. Which people? Another pause. You are being defensive. There it was. The chair outside the room. I turned off the water. I am going home. You always leave when conversations become uncomfortable. No. I leave when the words start changing. She opened her mouth. Grandma pushed through the swinging door behind us. I need Mara to drive me home. My mother's eyes moved from Grandma to me. I thought Daniel was taking you. I changed my mind. Daniel had not offered. No one said that. On the drive to Alder Street, Grandma looked out the passenger window. Streetlights passed across her face. I am sorry, I said. For what? Ruining Dad's dinner. You did not. Mom thinks I did. Celeste thinks discomfort and damage are the same thing. We stopped at a red light near Bellwether High School. Grandma adjusted her brooch. People believe the loudest version first, she said. I looked at her. That does not make it true. No, it only makes truth late. The light turned green. I drove the remaining 6 blocks without speaking. That sentence became the cruel line beneath almost everything that followed. People believe the loudest version first. My family had been practicing for years. 2 weeks after the birthday dinner, Daniel took credit for a gift I bought Grandma. Her old microwave had begun shutting off whenever it ran longer than 2 minutes. I ordered a simple countertop model for $164.89 and installed it on a Saturday morning. Grandma insisted on keeping the receipt. Of course she did. The next weekend, the family gathered at her house for lunch. Daniel walked into the kitchen, saw the microwave, and said, "Glad you like it, Grandma." She looked at him. "What part did you provide?" He smiled. "The recommendation." "You recommended one with a digital dial." "This has a digital dial." "No. You sent me a link to a machine with 23 buttons and a sensor for potatoes." Aunt Lorraine laughed. Daniel opened the microwave door and closed it. "Well, I told Mara you needed a new one." He had not. My mother entered carrying a salad bowl. "Daniel worries about Ruth constantly." Grandma turned to me. "Who paid for it?" "I did." "Who chose it?" "I did." "Who carried the old one to the basement?" "I did." Grandma looked at Daniel. "What did you do?" He grinned. "I provided emotional support." Everyone laughed. I did too, because the alternative was explaining a pattern no one wanted to see. Later, while I washed coffee cups, my cousin Nina came beside me. "I knew you bought it," she whispered. I looked at her. "Then why did you laugh?" Her cheeks colored. It was awkward. That answer hurt more than the joke. Most family lies survive because truth feels awkward, not because it is hidden. People see enough. They simply do not want to be the first person who makes the room uncomfortable. If you know that feeling, the moment everyone sees what happened, but waits for the quiet person to swallow it, comment the word ledger. That blue book became more important than anyone in my family understood. Subscribe and stay with me, because the first accusation was only the beginning. Grandma's medical appointment happened in May. It was not serious. Her doctor wanted to review blood pressure medication after she became dizzy while gardening. I offered to drive her. She said my mother already had. That Wednesday afternoon, I received a text from Aunt Lorraine. Hope Ruth's appointment went okay. Celeste said the family may need to make decisions soon. I called Grandma immediately. She answered on the fourth ring. What decisions? A pause. So Lorraine called you. She texted. I am fine. What happened at the appointment? The doctor reduced one pill. That is all? That was all before the meeting. What meeting? Grandma sighed. After the appointment, my mother had asked the doctor whether Ruth should continue managing her own finances. Daniel had joined them by phone. Grandma had not known he would be involved. The doctor asked Ruth several basic questions. She answered all of them correctly. My mother then said Ruth had become forgetful around money. Did the doctor believe her? The doctor asked me whether I wanted an evaluation. What did you say? I said I wanted lunch. Despite myself, I smiled. Grandma did not. Celeste told the doctor you were too busy to help, she continued. Daniel said he had been managing everything alone. I tightened my grip on the phone. I have never told them I was too busy. I know. Did you correct them? Yes. What happened? Your mother became hurt. That meant tears without responsibility. Where are you now? At home. I am coming over. You are working. I am leaving. No. Grandma. You are not leaving your office in the middle of a Wednesday because Celeste brought theater to a clinic. I can work later. I know you can. That is why people let you. She was right. Dependable. The word again. I stayed at work until 6, then drove to her house. She had saved half a turkey sandwich for me. The bread was dry around the edges. On the kitchen table sat a packet from the clinic. Grandma had passed every screening question. She knew the date, the current president, the amount in her checking account within $200, and the address of the house where she had lived for 43 years. She also knew exactly what my mother had been trying to do. She wants a piece of paper saying I cannot decide, Grandma said. Did she say that? She does not say the thing. She arranges the chairs. I sat across from her. Do you want me involved in future appointments? Yes. Then the clinic needs written permission to speak with me. I signed it. She slid a form across the table. My name was listed as an approved contact. Below it, she had crossed out Daniel's name. I looked up. Did you tell him? No. He will find out. Then he will know. That was Grandma Ruth. She could delay a confrontation while gathering facts, but once she made a decision, she did not decorate it. The next Sunday, Daniel arrived while I was replacing a loose hinge on Grandma's pantry door. He entered without knocking. Look at this, he said. The repair department is here. I kept turning the screwdriver. Grandma stood at the counter slicing strawberries. Knock next time, she said. Daniel kissed her cheek. I have a key. So does Mara. She knocks. He glanced at me. Mom said you got yourself added to the medical forms. I did not get myself added. Grandma, why would you remove me? Ruth placed the knife beside the cutting board. Because you told the doctor you manage my affairs. I help you. You help when I ask. That is what I meant. It is not what you said. Daniel leaned against the counter. He wore a navy sweater, expensive watch, and the expression he used with difficult clients. You have been under stress. Grandma looked at him. So have you, apparently. What is that supposed to mean? You tell me. For the first time, his eyes moved toward the narrow cabinet beside the refrigerator. The blue ledger was inside. I noticed. Grandma noticed me noticing. Daniel smiled again. Can I speak to you alone? No. His smile remained, but the warmth left it. This is family. Mara is family. You know what I mean. Yes, Grandma said. That is the problem. He straightened. I finished tightening the hinge. The screwdriver made a small metallic click against the screw head. Daniel looked at me. You enjoy this? What? Being involved in everything. I am repairing a hinge. You know what I mean. It was the same phrase he had used with Grandma. A sentence designed to make another person explain his accusation for him. I refused. He turned back to Ruth. Mom is worried. Celeste has made worry into a hobby. She thinks Mara is isolating you. The room became very quiet. I counted the strawberry slices on the cutting board. 9. Grandma's hand rested beside the knife. He thinks what? She is not accusing anyone. She sent you here to say it. No one sent me. What do you believe? Daniel exhaled. I believe you have been making decisions that do not sound like you. Grandma's face did not move. Which decisions? Removing me from the clinic form. 1. Questioning expenses I already explained. 2. Letting Mara handle your private documents. 3. He stopped. Grandma waited. Anything else? Daniel looked at me as though I had set a trap by remaining silent. You have changed, he said to her. No. You have started hearing no. He picked up his car keys from the counter. I came because I care. Then care enough to answer questions next time. What questions? The ones attached to the money. He froze. Not long. Maybe half a second. Most people would have missed it. I did not. His fingers closed around the keys. What money? Grandma looked at me. I understood she was not ready to confront him fully. The porch work, I said. Grandma wants copies of the contractor documents. Daniel's expression relaxed. Too quickly. I sent them. Where? Her email. I do not receive invoices by email, Grandma said. Then I printed them. Where are they? In the folder. Which folder? He laughed once. This is exactly what I mean. I am being questioned over maintenance I arranged for you. Grandma's voice remained even. Then bring the documents. I will look. No. You will bring them. His face changed again. A small thing. The muscles around his mouth became flat. People are going to misunderstand what is happening here, he said. There it was. The loudest version being prepared. Grandma picked up the knife and returned to the strawberries. People misunderstand whatever benefits them. Daniel left without saying goodbye. His car accelerated too hard away from the curb. Grandma cut one strawberry into 4 exact pieces. Did you see his hand? The keys? He almost dropped them. Yes. She placed the knife down. Was I too direct? No. Do not protect me. I am not. Was I? You were clear. She nodded. Clear feels cruel to people who depend on confusion. I wrote that down later. Not in the blue ledger. In a notebook of my own. The 3rd wound came at Christmas. By then, the tension had become part of every room. My mother hosted Christmas Eve. She arranged candles along the mantel and played soft piano music from hidden speakers. The house smelled like orange peel and cloves. Everyone wore colors that looked good in photographs. My mother had asked us to arrive at 5. Daniel arrived at 6:20 with Brooke and their 2 children. No one had opened gifts because Celeste insisted we wait. When they entered, the whole room lifted toward them. Daniel handed my father a box containing a watch. My mother covered her mouth. Bro. Okay, filmed the reaction. The watch cost around $700. I knew because Daniel had asked me 3 weeks earlier whether our father preferred black leather or brown. He had not asked me to contribute. My gift to Dad was a framed copy of an old city map showing the water system he had helped modernize during his first decade at work. I found it through a retired employee, paid $120 to have it restored, and mounted a small brass plate with the project date. Dad stared at it longer than he stared at the watch. This was in the old service office, he said. I know. How did you find it? Mr. Haney kept the archive plans. You called Harold Haney? Yes. Dad touched the edge of the frame. For a moment, he looked directly at me. Not past me. At me. This is something, he said quietly. My mother came beside him. Daniel's watch will look beautiful with your blue suit. The moment closed. Later I found Dad hanging the map in his downstairs office. He did not thank me again. He did not need to. That should have been enough. It was not. During dinner, my mother announced that Daniel had offered to manage Grandma's house repairs for the coming year. Grandma stopped cutting her ham. I did not agree to that. Celeste smiled. We are just planning ahead. You can plan behind. Mama, do not announce my decisions before I make them. My mother's face folded into concern. This is why we worry. You become defensive over simple help. I am not defensive. You accuse Daniel of mishandling paperwork. I asked for invoices. At Christmas? I asked in May. Daniel set down his wine glass. Mara has been filling her head with suspicion. Every sound at the table seemed to disappear. The children continued playing in the next room. A toy truck struck a wall. No adult turned. I looked at Daniel. What suspicion did I put in her head? He gave me a sad smile. You know what you are doing. No. Say it clearly. Mara, my mother warned. I kept my eyes on Daniel. What am I doing? You have always resented that Grandma trusted me with financial things. Grandma's fork touched her plate with a sharp click. I asked Mara to review the accounts. Daniel looked at her. Why? Because money went out that I did not understand. I explained every payment. No, you renamed every payment. My father stood suddenly. Let us not do this tonight. That was his one skill at home. Ending the conversation at the exact moment the truth became visible. My mother pressed a hand to her chest. I cannot believe this family is being torn apart over money. She looked at me when she said it. Not Daniel. Me. Then do not tear it, I said. Her eyes filled. Not fully. Just enough to shine beneath the dining room light. I have welcomed you into every family moment. I almost laughed. It was such an odd response that I needed a second to understand it. She was not answering anything. She was building a new room. In that room, she was the wounded mother, I was the ungrateful daughter, and the missing money no longer existed. Daniel pushed back his chair. I am not staying here to be accused. No one accused you, I said. He looked at me. You did not have to. Grandma wiped her mouth with her napkin. Bring the invoices. Daniel stared at her. She repeated it. Bring the invoices. Brooke took the children home before dessert. Daniel left 10 minutes later. My Aunt Lorraine whispered that the whole thing was tragic. My cousin Nina cleaned plates without looking at me. My father opened another bottle of wine. My mother cried in the powder room loudly enough for people in the hallway to hear. I sat beside Grandma in the living room. The Christmas tree lights changed from red to green to blue. I should go, I said. You should not have to. But I should. Grandma looked toward the dining room. People believe the loudest version first. I felt the words settle between us again. Then we need more than a quiet version, I said. She turned toward me. What do we need? A complete one. That was the night she agreed to let me make copies of everything. Not because she wanted revenge, not because she had decided Daniel was guilty, because the family had begun telling a story before the facts were finished. We returned to her house at 9:40 that night. I know the time because I looked at the dashboard when I parked. The temperature was 28 degrees. A strand of white lights had fallen from the left side of her porch rail and lay glowing against the snow. Inside, Grandma removed her coat, changed into slippers, and went straight to the cabinet beside the refrigerator. She took out the blue ledger. Then she opened a drawer beneath the telephone and removed 12 sealed envelopes, 3 folders, and a flash drive wrapped in tissue. I made copies myself, she said. When? After the medical appointment. Why did you not tell me? I wanted to know whether I could. I laid everything on the kitchen table. The folders contained printed statements, handwritten notes, check copies, and the contractor invoices Daniel claimed to have provided. The invoices had appeared in her mailbox 2 weeks earlier. No return address. Grandma handed me the flash drive. What is on this? Recordings. My hand stopped. What recordings? Calls with Daniel. Did he know? I told him I was writing things down. That is not the same. Is it illegal? I do not know without checking the law and the circumstances. Then check. She sat across from me. For the first time, I saw how tired she looked. Not confused, not fragile. Tired. There is a particular exhaustion that comes from having to prove you still understand your own life. I had seen it in clients whose children spoke over them. In business owners whose partners called them emotional whenever they asked. Cared for missing records. In spouses who were told they were bad with money after accounts were hidden from them. The tactic was always similar. Create confusion. Then use the confusion as evidence. Grandma pushed the blue ledger toward me. I want this to be a record, she said. Not a weapon. I understand. This is not revenge. No. Truth is not supposed to smash everything. No. It is supposed to separate what happened from what people say happened. I looked at the table, at the dates, the receipts, the folders, the flash drive, the blue ledger with its worn corners. A scalpel, not a hammer, I said. Grandma nodded. That. At 10:15, I began scanning documents with the small printer in her study. At 10:42, Grandma made tea. At 11:03, we discovered that 2 invoice numbers repeated across different companies. At 11:26, I found that one contractor phone number had been disconnected. At 11:51, Grandma fell asleep in her chair while I was still sorting pages. I covered her with the brown knitted blanket from the sofa. Then I stood alone in the kitchen and counted the unexplained transfers again. The total was no longer $41,300. With the newer statements, it had reached $58,900. I checked the number 3 times. Same result. The Christmas lights outside reflected in the dark kitchen window. Behind my reflection, Grandma slept beneath the blanket, one hand still resting near the blue ledger. That was the first night I understood the problem was larger than a misunderstanding. It was also the first night I understood my family had already chosen who would carry the blame if the truth came out. Me, the little receipt girl, the difficult dreamer, the unmarried daughter who visited too often, the granddaughter who knew where the records were. By morning, I had copied every page. I placed the originals back exactly as I found them. 7 envelopes on the left, 5 on the right, 3 folders stacked from oldest to newest. The flash drive beneath the ledger, I counted twice. When Grandma woke, pale winter light filled the kitchen. She looked at the documents, then at me. What did you find? Enough to keep looking. Is that the careful answer? Yes. What is the honest answer? I sat across from her. Someone moved nearly $60,000 from your account without clear supporting records. She held my gaze. Daniel? I cannot say yet. Would you say if you could? Yes. She nodded. Then she closed the ledger and wrapped the elastic band around it. Good, she said. That is why I chose you. People believe the loudest version first. My family had volume. Grandma and I were beginning to build something stronger. The next morning, I drove home through streets still empty from Christmas. Plastic wreaths hung from lampposts. A delivery truck idled outside the pharmacy. Melted snow ran along the curb in thin gray streams. I should have been exhausted. Instead, my mind kept arranging the facts. 7 unexplained transfers, 3 contractor names, 2 repeated invoice numbers, 1 phone number that no longer worked. And Daniel's hand closing too tightly around his car keys when Grandma mentioned the money. None of it proved theft. That mattered. Suspicion was not proof just because it felt right. A pattern was only a pattern until the source documents confirmed it. I knew how easily families turned feelings into facts. I would not do the same thing, even to protect Grandma. On Monday, I checked the public business records during my lunch break. Northridge Property Care did not exist as a registered company in Ohio. Elston Residential Services had been formed 18 months earlier by a man named Trevor Pike. Hearthline Consulting had been formed 6 weeks after that. Its registered agent was also Trevor Pike. I knew the name. Daniel had mentioned Trevor for years. They played golf together. They attended the same business networking events. Trevor had been one of the groomsmen at Daniel's wedding. I sat at my desk and looked at the registration pages. My office was quiet except for the heating vent above me. A strand of silver decoration left over from the holiday party moved each time warm air came through. I printed nothing. I saved nothing to my work computer. I wrote the company names and filing dates on a yellow note, folded it twice, and placed it in my purse. Then I called Grandma. "Do you know Trevor Pike? Daniel's friend with the loud shoes?" I smiled despite myself. "Yes. He came here once." "When?" "Last spring. Daniel said he was looking at the gutters." "Did he do any work?" "He stood in the driveway for 9 minutes." "You timed him?" "I was waiting for the kettle." "What happened after 9 minutes?" "He left." "Did he give you an estimate?" "No." "Did Daniel tell you Trevor owned a maintenance company?" "No." I closed my office door. "Grandma, 2 of the companies on the invoices are connected to Trevor." Silence. Not long, 3 seconds. "What does connected mean?" "He registered them." "Both?" "Yes." "And the third?" "I cannot find a registration." "Does that mean it is fake?" "It means I cannot confirm it is real." She breathed out slowly. "What should I do?" "Nothing today. That is not satisfying." "It is still the right answer." "I dislike your right answers." "I know." "Should I call Daniel?" "No." "Should I call the bank?" "We need advice before doing anything that could alert whoever made the transfers." She became quiet again. "Who gives that advice?" "An attorney who represents you." "Not the family." "I know one." That surprised me. "Who?" "Adrian Cole?" The name sounded familiar. "He handled your house paperwork?" "He handled your grandfather's estate." Grandpa Thomas had died when I was 16. I remembered the funeral, the dark wool coat Grandma wore, and the way she stood beside the grave without holding anyone's hand. I did not remember the lawyer. "Do you trust him?" "I trusted him 20 years ago. That is not the same as trusting him now." "You have become difficult." "So I have been told." She laughed softly. "I will call him." "You should make the appointment yourself." "Why?" "So no one can say I arranged it." "Clean process." "Exactly." She called Adrian Cole the following morning. His office was in a converted brick house near the county courthouse. He had represented local families for more than 40 years and was preparing to reduce his schedule, though he had not fully retired. Grandma did not tell him the details over the phone. She told his assistant she needed to discuss estate documents and possible unauthorized transactions. The appointment was set for January 8th at 10 in the morning. Grandma asked me to attend. I told her I would, but only if she made it clear to the lawyer that I was there at her request. She said, "Mara, if you become any more careful, you will start wrapping your sentences in bubble paper." She was teasing, mostly. The week before the appointment, my mother began calling more often. At first she called Grandma. Then she called me. The first call came while I was buying paint samples for my bungalow. "Mara, have you heard from Ruth today?" "Yes." "How did she sound?" "Like herself." There was a pause. "What does that mean?" "It means she sounded like herself." "I'm trying to have a serious conversation." "So am I." In the background, I heard the click of her kitchen drawer. She opened and closed drawers when she wanted the other person to imagine she was busy. "Daniel says she has been questioning old expenses." "She is allowed to question her expenses." "Of course she is. No one said otherwise." You just said Daniel was concerned. He is hurt. Why? Because he has done so much for her. I picked up a card painted soft gray, then put it back. What has he done? My mother exhaled. This is exactly the attitude that concerns me. What attitude? You sound as if you are investigating your own brother. The word was deliberate. Investigating. She wanted me to deny it too quickly. I did not. Grandma asked questions about her accounts. And why were you involved? Because she asked me. You always say that. Because it keeps being true. My mother lowered her voice. I need you to understand something. Ruth is getting older. Memory changes. People become suspicious. They misplace things and blame the person closest to them. Has Grandma blamed Daniel? She has made insinuations. What did she say? You know what she said. No. Tell me. Another drawer closed. I am not going to repeat ugly accusations. That meant she had none to repeat. I looked at the paint samples lying beneath, which the store's bright lights, cream, gray, pale blue. Each one had a name designed to sound like a life someone wanted. Morning Mist, Quiet Harbor, Safe Stone. Did Daniel tell you about the transfers? I asked. My mother became still. Even through the phone, I could feel it. What transfers? It was too smooth. I counted 1 second. 2, 3. Ask Daniel, I said. Mara? I have to go. You cannot drop something like that and leave. I did not drop anything. You called me. I ended the call. My hands were shaking slightly, not from fear, from recognition. She knew. Maybe not everything, but enough. I bought the paint called Quiet Harbor. It looked blue in the store and gray on my walls. That felt appropriate. The January appointment with Adrian Cole lasted 2 hours and 19 minutes. His office smelled like paper, old coffee, and the cedar blocks he kept in a wooden cabinet. The front room had dark green carpet worn thin near the reception desk. Framed certificates covered one wall. None were arranged evenly. Adrian was 72, narrow-shouldered, and careful with his words. His white hair had been combed straight back. He wore a brown suit that looked older than some of his clients. He greeted Grandma first. Ruth. Adrian. You look well. You look expensive. I am. He smiled. Then he looked at me. And you are Mara. Grandma turned toward me. I told him about you years ago. What did you tell him? That you checked the change after buying candy. I was 8. You found the mistake. The cashier gave me $5 too much. And you returned it. Adrian motioned us into his office. That is a useful detail today, he said. Grandma sat in the chair nearest the window. I sat beside her. Adrian remained behind his desk but did not open a notebook immediately. He asked Grandma why she had come. She explained in her own words, no prompts, no interruptions. She described giving Daniel access to online banking. She described the transfers. She described the invoices and the medical appointment. She explained why she had asked me to review the records. Adrian asked how she felt physically. She told him. He asked whether she understood the value of her home, her savings, and her investments. She answered within a few $1,000s. He asked who her living children were, who her grandchildren were, and how her current will divided the estate. She answered every question. I understood what he was doing. So did Grandma. When he finished, she said, Am I permitted to continue being myself? Adrian closed his pen. I have no concern about your ability to understand your affairs. Put that in writing. I intend to. He then asked me to explain what I had reviewed. I stayed close to the facts. I did not call the transfers theft. I did not accuse Daniel. I explained the account access, payment descriptions, on tractor invoices, company filings, and connection to Trevor Pike. Adrian listened without reacting. When I finished, he asked whether I had taken possession of any original record. No. Accessed her accounts? No. Contacted the bank? No. Contacted any company named on the invoices? No. Spoken to Daniel about the companies? No. Grandma leaned toward him. Does she pass? This is not an examination. It sounded like one. Adrian looked at me. She has been careful. I told you, Grandma said. He asked to see the documents. Grandma opened her bag and removed copies, not originals. I had not told her to do that. She had decided herself. Adrian reviewed the pages in silence. He adjusted his glasses twice. He placed the invoices in a row across his desk. After nearly 15 minutes, he tapped one payment with his pen. This transfer went to an account ending in 4418. Yes, Grandma said. Do you recognize that account? No? Daniel told you this paid for exterior repairs? He told me something different each time. Adrian looked at the invoice. This invoice says drainage consultation. There was no drainage consultation. Did anyone visit the property? Trevor stood in the driveway. For 9 minutes, I added. Adrian looked at me. 9? Grandma timed him. I was waiting for a kettle, she said. He continued reading. The total at that point had reached $58,900. Adrian wrote the number on a legal pad. Then he turned the pad so Grandma could see it. This may be a civil matter. It may be a criminal matter. It may involve transactions you authorized but no longer remember clearly. I am not making a conclusion today. Good, Grandma said. Neither is Mara. What do you want to happen? I want to know where my money went. And after that? She looked at the documents. I want my decisions protected. Adrian nodded. That may require several steps. He explained them in simple terms. Grandma needed to secure her accounts, obtain complete bank records directly, document who had authority, and review her estate plan. She also needed to avoid discussing the details with people who might destroy records or create new ones. He did not tell her to accuse anyone. He did not promise an outcome. He gave her choices. That mattered to Grandma more than anything else. My mother had been treating her age like an empty chair waiting for someone else. Adrian treated it like a fact, nothing more. Before we left, Grandma asked him one final question. If my family says Mara influenced me, what happens? Adrian did not answer quickly. They can say it. That was not my question. No, he said. It was not. He folded his hands. If they challenge your decisions later, the facts will matter. Your capacity, your intent, independent witnesses, the timing of your choices, the records supporting them. People believe the loudest version first, Grandma said. Adrian studied her for a moment. Courts are supposed to listen longer. Outside his office, cold air moved along the courthouse steps. Grandma stopped beneath the awning. Do you trust him? I asked. Yes. Why? He did not tell me what I wanted to hear. We went to lunch at a small diner called Millie's. Grandma ordered tomato soup and half a grilled cheese sandwich for $8.75. I ordered chicken salad and spent most of the meal watching her stir crackers into the soup. What are you thinking? I asked. That I should have seen it sooner. We do not know exactly what happened yet. You sound like him. That is probably good. I trusted Daniel because he was confident. Confidence is not evidence. No. But it is convenient. She looked toward the window. A city bus stopped across the street. 2 people stepped off. One carried a bouquet wrapped in brown paper. I made him executor in my current will, she said. I put down my fork. Daniel? Yes. Does he know? He assumes. That is not the same. With Daniel, it often becomes the same. Do you want to change it? Yes. She said it without hesitation. Who do you want instead? Adrian will help me decide. You do not have to tell me. I know. That answer gave me relief I had not expected. I did not want to know everything in the will. I did not want my presence near her decisions to become a weapon. Grandma understood that. She always did. When I drove her home, she placed one hand on the blue ledger inside her bag. "Do not come Sunday," she said. "Why?" "Your mother is bringing lunch." "Since when?" "Since this morning." "Did you tell her about the appointment?" "No." "Then how did she know you were out?" "Daniel drove past the lawyer's office. The road seemed to narrow. He saw your car. He called me while we were eating." "What did you say?" "That I was having lunch." "Did he ask why you were at Adrian's office?" "He said he hoped I was not making decisions while upset." I tightened my hands around the steering wheel. "Grandma, you should not meet Mom alone if you feel pressured. It is my house." "That does not answer me." She looked at me. "You are right." I was not used to family members saying that. "I will ask Lorraine to come," she said. "Aunt Lorraine may tell Mom everything afterward." "I know." "Then why her?" "Because Celeste behaves better with a witness she wants to impress." Again, Grandma knew the family. My mother arrived that Sunday with vegetable soup, fresh bread, and a white orchid. Aunt Lorraine came 10 minutes later. I stayed home, as Grandma requested. At 2:17, Grandma called me. They left. "What happened?" "Your mother asked whether I changed my will." I sat down at my kitchen table. "What did you say?" I asked why she wanted to know. "And?" she cried. "Of course." She said the family was falling apart because I no longer trusted them. "Did she mention the money?" "She said Daniel had made bookkeeping mistakes." That was new. "What kind of mistakes?" "She did not say." "Did you ask?" "Yes." "What was her answer?" "She said the details did not matter compared with family unity." I closed my eyes. The details were $58,900. What did Aunt Lorraine say? That everyone should calm down. Did Mom ask about me? Yes. The answer came too quickly. What did she say? That you have always compared yourself with Daniel, that your work has made you suspicious, that I may be leaning on you because you are lonely. I looked around my bungalow, the half-painted wall, the stack of mail, the small plant Grandma had given me. Lonely was one of my mother's favorite replacements for independent. Did you correct her? Yes. What happened? She said I was proving her point. Of course. Any defense became evidence. Any disagreement became confusion. Any boundary became cruelty. Where is the ledger? I asked. In the cabinet? Check. Mara? Please. I heard the phone move. A cupboard door opened, then silence. The kind that changes a day. It is here, Grandma said. I breathed again. But one folder is not. Which folder? The newest statements. Are you sure? Yes. Could you have moved it? No. Did Aunt Lorraine go near the cabinet? She stayed in the living room. Did Mom? She went to the kitchen for water. How long? Maybe 2 minutes? I stood. I am coming over. No, you will not storm into my house. I do not storm. You walk quickly with a serious face. In this family, it counts. Despite everything, I almost smiled. Lock the door. I always lock the door. Put the ledger somewhere else. Where? Not in the house. Another pause. I know where. She would not tell me. That was fine. Clean process. She needed control over her own evidence. If this feels familiar, the moment someone calls missing money a small mistake and asks everyone else to protect the peace, comment the word invoice. Stay with me, because the family had already started building a case. They simply had not told me yet that I was the person they planned to put inside it. The missing folder appeared 3 days later. My mother called Grandma and said she had accidentally picked it up with a recipe magazine. The explanation made no sense. The folder was brown, thick, and labeled Bank Records in Grandma's handwriting. The magazine was thin and covered with a photograph of lemon cake. Grandma asked my mother to return it. Celeste sent Daniel. He arrived at 7:30 in the evening. Grandma called me before opening the door. I stayed on the phone but said nothing. Daniel entered with the folder beneath his arm. I cannot believe this has become an emergency, he said. Grandma took the folder. Sit down. I have somewhere to be. Then stand. He sighed. Mom grabbed it by mistake. Grandma opened the folder. Several pages were out of order. 2 bank statements were missing. Where are the December pages? That is what was in the folder. No. Grandma. Do not use my age as punctuation. I covered my mouth so he would not hear me breathe. Daniel moved through the kitchen. I heard a chair scrape. This has gone too far, he said. What has? Mara turning you against everyone. She is not here. That does not mean she is not involved. I asked her. You asked because she made you suspicious. I became suspicious when my money disappeared. Your money did not disappear. Then where is it? I arranged work. Show me. I have shown you. No. You gave me papers from your friends' companies. There was a sharp silence. You looked up Trevor? Mara did. I closed my eyes. Grandma had named me, not falsely, but directly. Daniel's voice changed. You had her investigate him? I had her check business records. She has no right. They are public. This is insane. Where is the money? I told you. Tell me again. He began listing repairs. Gutters, drainage, foundation inspection, roof consultation, tree removal. Grandma interrupted each one. The gutters had not been replaced. No drainage work had happened. The foundation had not been inspected. The roof consultant never entered the house. The tree was still standing beside the garage. Daniel's answers became faster. He said deposits had been paid, appointments had been canceled, materials had been ordered, refunds were pending. Grandma let him finish. Then she asked, why did the money go to Trevor? He manages vendors. What vendors? I do not have every name in front of me. Bring them. I will. When? Soon. Give me a date. He exhaled loudly. Friday. January 12th? Yes. What time? I do not know. Before noon. Fine. I wrote it down in my notebook. January 12th, before noon. Now the missing statements, Grandma said. I do not know anything about missing statements. Your mother took the folder. By mistake. You returned it. As a favor. It belongs to me. Everything is an accusation with you now. Grandma's voice remained level. No, everything is a question. You are the one hearing accusation. He stood. The chair moved again. You know what people are saying? What? That Mara is trying to get control of your estate. My heart began beating harder. There it was, not fully formed, but alive. Which people? Grandma asked. Family. Names. I am not dragging everyone into this. You brought them. You do not understand what this looks like. What does it look like? It looks like Mara suddenly became interested in your finances. Sudden, boy. She was never around like this before. That was a lie. I had visited most Sundays for years. You know that is not true, Grandma said. She has her own reasons. What reasons? Daniel paused. You should ask her. I am asking you. He did not answer. Grandma waited. 7 seconds. 8. At 9, he said, I have to go. Friday before noon. I heard you. Bring the missing statements. He left. Grandma locked the door behind him. Then she returned to the kitchen. You are still there? She asked. Yes. He is preparing people. I know. What do we do? Call Adrian tomorrow. Daniel did not bring the records on Friday. At 11:56 a.m., he texted Grandma that a client emergency had come up. At 12:03, he promised to deliver everything Monday. At 12:18, my mother called and accused Grandma of humiliating him. At 12:31, Aunt Lorraine called me. What did you do to Daniel? I was at work, eating yogurt at my desk. I have not spoken to Daniel since Christmas. He says you are threatening legal action. I have not threatened anyone. Celeste is beside herself. About what? You are treating family like criminals. No one has been called a criminal. Mara, you know how words work. Yes, I said. That is why I am careful with them. Aunt Lorraine lowered her voice. I am trying to help. Then ask Daniel for the invoices. This is not about invoices. It is exactly about invoices. It is about trust. Trust does not replace records. She sighed. You sound cold. That word stayed with me. Cold. I had not raised my voice. I had not accused anyone. I had not shared the situation outside the small group already involved. But because I would not abandon the facts, I was cold. Daniel could move $58,900 without clear proof and still be hurt. My mother could remove a folder from Grandma's house and still be worried. I could ask where the money went and become cruel. That was how the room had always been arranged. I have to return to work, I said. You always hide behind work. No, I am at work. I ended the call. That afternoon, my supervisor asked whether I was okay. Her name was Cynthia Hale. She was one of the firm's partners and had spent 25 years investigating internal theft. She noticed details people who did our work usually did. I am dealing with a family matter, I said. Do you need time? Not yet. Does it overlap with what we do here? Possibly. She leaned back in her chair. Then protect the boundary. I am. Are you? I considered the question. I have reviewed public records and documents provided by the account owner. Nothing through the firm. Good. I am not acting as her professional advisor. Keep saying that out loud. I have. Family members here help and later describe roll. The sentence made me look at her. Have you seen that before? More than once. She tapped her pen against the desk. The person who finds the problem often becomes the problem. It is easier than admitting someone trusted did something wrong. I looked through the glass wall toward my desk. What protects the person who finds it? Documentation, independent professionals, distance from decisions that benefit them. Grandma and Adrian had already begun doing those things. Still, hearing Cynthia say it made the risk feel larger. Do not use firm resources, she continued. Do not take original records, do not advise on the will, and do not let anyone make you the only witness. I understand. She nodded. One more thing. What? If the family is already blaming you before the facts come out, assume they are not improvising. That sentence followed me home. Assume they are not improvising. The following week, Grandma changed the password to her online banking with help from a bank officer. She removed Daniel's access. She opened a new checking account and moved only enough money to cover routine bills. The bank began reviewing past transfers. Grandma did not tell Daniel. He found out when he tried to log in. At 8:12 that evening, he called her 6 times. She did not answer. At 8:24, he called me. I watched the phone vibrate across my kitchen table. Once, twice, 3 times. I answered on the 4th call. What did you do? He asked. No greeting. Nothing else. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Then say it. Grandma locked me out of the account. That sounds like something Grandma did. You put her up to it. No. You were at the bank. I was at work. Do not lie to me. I stood and walked toward the front window. Outside, rain shone beneath the street lamp. I was not at the bank. Then who helped her? Ask Grandma. She will not answer. That is her choice. She cannot manage everything alone. She managed it before you. Until she started forgetting. What has she forgotten? He went quiet. I waited. What has she forgotten, Daniel? You do not see her every day. Neither do you. I handle things you know nothing about. Then provide the records. His voice hardened. This is not one of your little office cases. No, it is Grandma's money. You have always wanted to make me look irresponsible. I almost asked when. Instead, I said nothing. He continued. You could never stand that she trusted me. She trusted you with access. She trusted me with everything. Then why are you afraid of records? The silence that followed lasted 11 seconds. I counted each one. At 12, he said, Be careful. It was not a threat in the legal sense. It was something older. A family warning. Be careful not to embarrass us. Be careful not to ask again. Be careful not to force the loud people to become louder. About what? I asked. You think you know what is happening. I know Grandma asked where her money went. You are going to regret turning this into a war. This is not a war. It will be. He ended the call. I wrote down the time, the length of the call, and the exact words I remembered. Then I sent the note to Adrian. Not because I was frightened, because memory became political in our family. By February, the bank had identified 9 transfers totaling $67,600. 3 went directly to accounts associated with Trevor's companies. 2 went to a payment service account that later sent money to Trevor. 4 remained unclear. Daniel eventually provided copies of 6 invoices. 2 had dates that did not match the bank transfers. 1 listed work performed on a day Grandma had been home all day with Aunt Lorraine. Another included a charge of $3,400 for removal of a maple tree that was still visible from Grandma's kitchen window. When Adrian saw that invoice, he looked at the tree through the glass. That is a strong tree, he said. Grandma folded her arms. Expensive too, apparently. The situation would have been almost funny if it had not been hers. The bank asked Grandma whether she wanted to file a formal dispute. She asked for time to consult Adrian. Again, she wanted facts before action. My mother called that delay proof that Ruth did not believe Daniel had done anything wrong. Daniel called it proof the bank had overreacted. Aunt Lorraine called it a private misunderstanding. Everyone named it except Grandma. She called it missing money. In March, the 4th wound arrived during my cousin Nina's engagement dinner. The restaurant was called Bell House. It had white tablecloths, dark wood walls, and tiny lamps at each place setting. There were 22 guests. I almost did not attend. Grandma asked me to. Why? Because staying home will become a confession. I hated that she was right. When I arrived, my mother greeted me with a kiss near my cheek. Not on it. Near it. You came. You invited me. I was not sure you would feel comfortable. What would make me uncomfortable? Her eyes moved toward Daniel's table. Nothing, if everyone behaves. There was the arrangement again. If Daniel accused me, we were both part of conflict. If I answered, I had failed to behave. I sat beside Grandma. Daniel and Brooke sat across from us. My father sat at the end of the table, already studying the menu. Dinner remained polite through the first course. Then Aunt Lorraine asked Grandma whether the bank issue had been resolved. The question seemed casual. It was not. My mother placed her hand over Lorraine's. This is not the place. Daniel looked wounded. I do not mind. Of course he did not. He had been waiting. Grandma took a sip of water. It has not been resolved. Daniel shook his head sadly. I have tried to fix this. How? Grandma asked. Offered to pay back anything the vendors mishandled. That was the first time he offered repayment, not because he had taken money, because vendors had mishandled it. How much? Grandma asked. I do not have the exact number. The bank does. This is what I mean. You are treating me like a stranger. Grandma placed her glass down. I would ask a stranger for receipts, too. Brooke leaned forward. Daniel has barely slept. I looked at him. He appeared rested. My mother turned toward Grandma. He made mistakes while trying to help. Is losing your grandson worth proving a point? Grandma's expression changed. Not anger, grief. She looked at my mother for a long moment. Is keeping a grandson worth losing the truth? No one moved. Then Daniel looked toward me. "This is what she has done to you." My chest tightened. Grandma said, "Do not." But he continued. "Before Mara got involved, we were handling everything." "No," I said. "Before I got involved, Grandma did not know how much was missing." My mother inhaled sharply. "Mara." Daniel leaned back. "There. She admits it." "Admits what?" "That she has been going through private accounts." Grandma gave me the statements. "Because you frightened her." Grandma's hand touched the table. "I asked her." Daniel ignored her. He kept his eyes on me. "You know what she is worth." The words landed exactly as he intended. Several relatives looked toward me. Not at Grandma. At me. My mother lowered her eyes. A performance of shame. "What are you saying?" I asked. "You started showing up every Sunday." "I have visited on Sundays for years." "You started helping with appointments." "After Mom told the doctor Grandma could not manage her finances." My mother's face changed. "That is not what happened. It is what Grandma told me." She misunderstood. "I did not," Grandma said. My father finally looked up. "Enough." No one listened. Daniel took out his phone. "I have texts from Grandma asking you to check balances. She asked for help. I have messages showing you knew about her estate. I know she has a house and savings. So does everyone here." He smiled without warmth. "You know more than that." I looked at Grandma. She gave the smallest shake of her head. She had not told me the will details. Daniel wanted me to claim knowledge I did not have. "I have never seen her will," I said. "Convenient." "It is true." "You expect everyone to believe you are doing this out of kindness?" I held his gaze. "No. I expect the records to show what I did." The sentence made him blink. One time. Small. But I saw it. So did Grandma. My mother began crying, quietly at first, then enough for the people farther down the table to notice. "This family used to love one another," she said. Nina's fiancé looked at his plate. Nina looked close to tears for a different reason. It was her dinner, her engagement, her moment, and my mother had Turiet netted into a courtroom where she controlled the witness order. I stood. "I am sorry, Nina." My mother looked up. "You are leaving?" "Yes." "That will only make this look worse." "What will?" She did not answer. I waited. "What will it make look worse?" "Mara, please. Say it." Grandma stood beside me. My mother wiped her cheek. "People are already asking why you are so interested in Ruth's money." "Which people?" Again, no names. Only atmosphere. Only a story floating through the family with no author. "People believe the loudest version first," Daniel said. He smiled when he said it. He had heard Grandma's line somewhere. Maybe from my mother. Maybe from Aunt Lorraine. He used it like a warning. Grandma turned toward him. Her face became completely still. "Yes," she said. "They do." Then she picked up her coat. I drove her home. Neither of us spoke until we reached Alder Street. The porch light had burned out. I replaced it while she changed clothes. When I returned to the kitchen, the blue ledger was on the table. "I want everything copied again," she said. "We already have copies." "I want new copies." "Why?" "Because Daniel quoted me." "The loudest version line?" "Yes." "He may have heard it from someone." "He heard more than that." "What?" "At dinner, he said you knew about my estate." I told him I had never seen the will. "I know." "What does he think I know?" Grandma opened the ledger to a page dated January 8th. Beside the note about Adrian's office, she had written, "Review Executor. Protect Mara from accusation. Record intent independently." My skin went cold. Who has seen this? No one with permission. The folder Mom took? This page was inside the ledger, not the folder. Was the ledger ever left alone while Daniel was in the house? Grandma looked toward the cabinet. "Christmas. After we returned from dinner? No, before." "Any other time?" "The day he came about the clinic form." He had looked toward the cabinet. I remembered. His eyes. The keys in his hand. Did he open it? I do not know. Did you count the pages? She looked at me. I knew the answer before she spoke. One is missing. The room changed around us. What page? January 3rd. What was on it? Grandma closed her eyes briefly. The name of Adrian's office, a note about changing the will, and the amount we had found at that point. Why did you not tell me? I thought I had removed it myself. Did you? No. Are you sure? Yes. Could Mom have taken it? She never knew where the ledger was. Daniel did. We sat in silence. The red apple clock ticked above the stove. The missing page changed everything, not because it proved Daniel had taken it, because it meant someone had access to Grandma's private record and knew she was preparing legal changes. The story being told about me was not random. It was defensive. Someone feared what the records would show. Someone needed a reason to discredit the person helping Ruth preserve them. My work, my visits, my unmarried life, my careful questions, all of it could be turned into motive. She is after the inheritance. It was simple, familiar, easy to repeat. People believe the loudest version first. That night, Grandma called Adrian. He answered from home. She told him about the missing page. He asked whether the ledger was safe. Grandma said yes. He asked where. She refused to tell him over the phone. That made him laugh once. Good, he said. He scheduled a meeting for the next morning. This time, he asked Grandma to come alone. I understood. Independent process. No granddaughter beside her. No suggestion that I guided what came next. I drove her to the courthouse area but dropped her 2 blocks away. She took a taxi home afterward. I did not ask what they discussed. She told me only what involved me. Adrian is changing the estate plan, she said that evening. Okay. He is no longer comfortable with Daniel serving in any role. Okay. I named an independent executor. Do I need to know who? No. Then do not tell me. She smiled. You really are the right person to disappoint. What does that mean? You do not reach for information simply because it is offered. I reach for useful information. That is what I mean. She poured coffee into 2 cups. Then she became serious. He wants a recorded statement. About the transfers? About everything. That sounds wise. He wants witnesses. Good. He wants you absent. Better. She watched me. You are not hurt? No. That was true. I felt safer outside the room. He also wants the bank records certified, she continued, and he wants an independent accountant to review them. Good. Not you. Excellent. That made her laugh. The independent accountant was named Helen Ward. She worked in Dayton and had no connection to our family. She reviewed the statements, invoices, public company records, and bank routing information. Her report took 6 weeks. During those 6 weeks, my mother became kinder to me. That frightened me more than anger. She began texting in the mornings, thinking of you. Hope work is not too stressful. We should have lunch, just us girls. She sent me an old photograph of Daniel and me standing beside a plastic swimming pool. You two used to be so close. We had never been close. In the photograph, Daniel was holding my head beneath his arm while I tried to pull away. My mother remembered the pose. I remembered being unable to breathe. I answered none of the messages except the lunch request. I wrote, I am not available this week. She replied, You are always so formal with me now. 3 days later, she appeared at my house. It was a Tuesday evening. I had just changed from work clothes. I into sweatpants when the doorbell rang. She stood on the porch holding a glass dish covered in foil. I made lasagna. I did not open the storm door. You should have called. I wanted to surprise you. I am tired. That is why I brought dinner. Her smile looked gentle. Everything about the scene looked gentle. A mother, a daughter, a warm dish on a cold evening. Can I come in? She asked. I hesitated. That was enough. Her eyes sharpened for an instant, then softened again. Mara, I am not the enemy. I did not say you were. You act as though I am. I opened the door. Not because I trusted her, because refusing would become another story. She entered and looked around my living room. You painted? Yes. It is a little gray. It is called Quiet Harbor. Well, that sounds like you. I placed the lasagna on the kitchen counter. She walked slowly through the room, touching nothing but looking at everything. The mail basket, the laptop bag, the small desk near the window, the shelf where I kept tax folders. You have done well for yourself, she said. Thank you. I wish you let us be part of it. You are standing in my house. That is not what I mean. I waited. She sat at the kitchen table. I remained standing. Daniel is in trouble, she said. There it was. No lasagna. No concern about work. Daniel. What kind of trouble? He borrowed money. From Grandma? He intended to repay it. How much? You know how much. I know how much is unsupported. I do not know how much he admits taking. Her face tightened. He did not take it. You said he borrowed it. Do not twist my words. I repeated them. He moved money temporarily to help with a business opportunity. Did Grandma agree? She would have if he had explained. That sentence told me everything about my mother's view of consent. Permission after the fact. Agreement imagined by the person who benefited. Did he tell Grandma? He was going to. When? Mara, he has children, a mortgage. People depend on him. Grandma depends on her money too. She has more than enough. That is not the point. Then what is the point? That it was hers. My mother looked away. The refrigerator hummed behind us. I counted 6 small cracks in the plaster above the doorway. At 7, she said, families help one another. Did Grandma agree to help? She has always helped Daniel. That is not an answer. You enjoy saying that. No, I keep needing to. She folded her hands. Daniel made a desperate decision. Trevor promised an investment would close quickly. The money was supposed to be back before Ruth noticed. There it was, not the whole truth, but enough. How much did Trevor receive? I do not know. Did Daniel create the invoices? No. Did Trevor? I do not know. Did Daniel know the invoices described work that never happened? She stuttered, and I did not come here to be interrogated. You came here because you wanted something. I came to ask you to stop. Stop what? Pushing Ruth toward lawyers and banks. Grandma contacted them herself. She listens to you. She makes her own decisions. You know that is not entirely true. The words were quiet, careful, prepared. I felt my stomach tighten. What are you saying? She is vulnerable. Her doctor disagrees. Doctors see people for 20 minutes. Adrian has met with her independently. Adrian is old. An independent accountant is reviewing the records. My mother froze. I should not have said it. I knew that immediately. Her face recovered within a second. An accountant? I said nothing. Who hired an accountant? Grandma and her attorney are handling the matter. Who? I am not discussing it. She stepped closer. You are taking this family apart. No, Daniel took Grandma's money. He borrowed it, without asking. He panicked. Then he created fake records. You do not know that. Someone did. She lifted the dish from the counter. The lasagna had not been uncovered. You have always wanted him to fail. No. You hated that he was loved easily. The sentence hurt because it contained a piece of truth twisted into a weapon. I had noticed Daniel was loved easily. I had wanted that ease, but I had never wanted him destroyed. I wanted the same rules, I said. My mother's eyes filled again. You had everything. No. You had a home, education, parents who supported you. I had a scholarship. We fed you. That was how far she had to go to find equality. Food, shelter, the minimum given to a child. "I am not discussing my childhood," I said. "Because you know your version is unfair." "Leave." Her mouth opened. I repeated it. "Leave." She picked up her purse. At the door, she turned. "People already think this is about the will." "Which people?" She smiled sadly. "You always ask for names." "Because nameless people cannot be corrected. You should think about what happens when Ruth is gone." The sentence landed differently from everything else. Not because it threatened me, because it revealed the timeline in her mind. Grandma was still alive, still deciding, still asking questions. My mother was already arranging the room after her death. "I am thinking about what happens while she is here," I said. She left. I locked the door. Then I wrote down the conversation as accurately as I could remember it. At 8:41, I called Grandma. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "Did she take the lasagna?" "Yes." "Good. Why?" "Her lasagna is dry." I laughed once. Then the laugh turned into something else. Read my eyes. "I am sorry." "For what?" "This is your son." "Yes." "Your daughter-in-law." "Yes." "Your money." "Yes." I keep thinking if I had not looked. "No." Her voice became firm. "No, Mara." I lowered my hand. She would still be my daughter-in-law. He would still be my grandson. The money would still be gone. Only the record would be missing. I breathed slowly. "This was not caused by being found," she said. I knew that professionally. I needed to hear it personally. 2 weeks later, Helen Ward completed her report. The total unauthorized or unsupported transfers had reached $86,400, the exact amount Daniel would later place on the table and accuse me of stealing. Helen traced $73,900 to accounts controlled by Trevor or Daniel. The remaining $12,500 had been withdrawn through cashier's checks. One of those checks had been deposited into Daniel's personal account. Another had paid a past due property tax bill on his house. The third had gone toward a lease payment on his car. There was no longer room for a bookkeeping mistake. The report did not claim criminal intent. It presented the movement of money, dates, accounts, amounts, recipients. That was enough. Grandma read every page. Then she asked Adrian to arrange the recorded statement. It happened on April 19th. I was not there. Adrian was. Helen was. A retired judge named Rebecca Moss served as an independent witness. A videographer recorded the session. Grandma wore her dark green cardigan and silver brooch. I knew because Adrian later told me only that she had arrived prepared and stayed nearly 3 hours. The recording covered her health, her family, her finances, the missing money, the ledger, and her reasons for changing the will. She explained when she had asked me for help. She explained that I had refused to access her accounts directly. She explained that I had not requested money, property, or a role in the estate. She explained the accusations already spreading through the family. Then she gave Adrian a special instruction. The recording was to remain sealed. It would not be shown during the ordinary will reading unless someone formally accused me of theft, coercion, manipulation, or financial abuse. If they did, Adrian was to play it in full. Grandma told me this part afterward. Not the content, only the condition. You made a trap, I said. No. It sounds like one. A trap hides danger. What would you call it? A door? For whom? For the truth. It only opens if someone tries to lock you outside. I sat across from her at the kitchen table. The blue ledger was no longer in the cabinet. I still did not know where she kept it. What happens if no one accuses me? I asked. Then no one sees the recording. And if they do, they will hear me. She poured sugar into her coffee. Half a teaspoon. Always. I watched her stir. Are you sure? Yes. About the will? Yes. About the recording? Yes. About all of it? She placed the spoon beside the cup. I am old, Mara. I am not absent. I never asked again. The family pressure increased as summer approached. Daniel stopped calling Grandma directly. Brooke sent photographs of the children with messages about how much they missed their great-grandmother. My mother began organizing family lunches without inviting me. Aunt Lorraine told me I should apologize for making everyone uncomfortable. My father called once. He asked whether I could come by his office. I met him at the utilities building on a Friday afternoon. His office had beige walls, metal filing cabinets, and the framed water system map I gave him at Christmas. He had hung it directly behind his desk. I noticed. He noticed me noticing. Neither of us said anything. He closed the door. Your mother is having a hard time. I know. Daniel, too. I know. He rubbed his thumb along the edge of a folder. Ruth has removed him from the will. I did not react. Did Daniel tell you that? Your mother did. How would she know? He looked toward the window. Ruth said something. Grandma told me she was not discussing the will with family. She may have changed her mind. Or someone found out another way. My father's face became tired. He had always looked older in private. At home, beside my mother, he became part of her arrangement. Alone, he looked like a man who had spent years watching water damage spread behind a wall and telling himself the paint was still dry. Did you see Daniel take papers from Grandma's house? I asked. His eyes moved to mine. I had not planned the question. It arrived from somewhere below thought. What papers? That is not what I asked. He opened his mouth, closed it. Then he looked at the framed map. I counted 5 seconds. At 6, he said, Your mother said Ruth asked him to bring over some files. When? After Christmas. What files? I do not know. Did you see them? He had a folder in the car. What kind? Blue. The ledger was blue leather. But he said folder. Was it a folder or a book? I do not remember. He did. I could see it. Dad. He pressed his lips together. I do not want to be in the middle. You are already in the middle. No. This is between Ruth and Daniel. Then why did you ask me here? His shoulders dropped. Because your mother thinks you can fix it. How? Talk to Ruth. Ask her to ignore the missing money? Ask her not to destroy the family. I stared at him. Who took the money? He did not answer. Who created false invoices? Silence. Who removed records from her house? His eyes lowered. I felt something inside me become still, not broken, finished. People believe the loudest version first, I said. He looked up. Your mother is scared. That is not an answer. She thinks, if this becomes public, Dad. He stopped. Did you see Daniel take the ledger? His face tightened. I saw him leave with something. What? I cannot be sure. Did you ask? Your mother said Ruth had given it to him. Did Grandma confirm that? No. Did you tell Grandma? No. Why? He rubbed both hands over his face. Because I thought it would work itself out. That was my father's faith. Not in truth. In delay. He believed enough time could turn a choice into an accident. Grandma found the ledger, I said. His head lifted. That was not entirely true. She had never told me whether the ledger itself had disappeared, only a page. I watched his reaction. Relief crossed his face, too much relief. You knew it was missing, I said. No. You just looked relieved. Mara, you knew. I did not know what he had. But you knew he took something. He stood and walked toward the window. A city truck moved through the parking lot below. I told Celeste, he said. When? That night. What did she say? That Daniel was returning files Ruth had asked him to review. And you believed her? I wanted to. There it was. The honest beat. Too late. Too small. But honest. You did not stay neutral, I said. You helped them. He turned. I never touched the money. You protected the people who did. I was trying to keep peace. No. You kept quiet. His eyes filled. My father did not cry easily. For 1 second, I wanted to comfort him. That old reflex. The dependable daughter. The person who carried discomfort out of the room so everyone else could breathe. I left it there. What do you want me to do? He asked. Tell Grandma what you saw. I cannot accuse my son. You can describe what you saw. Your mother will never forgive me. The sentence answered the question. He was still choosing. I have to go, I said. Mara. I opened the door. Please do not make me part of this. I looked back at him. You became part of it when you saw the folder. I drove directly to Grandma's house. She was in the backyard tying tomato plants to wooden stakes. I told her everything. She listened with her hands still around the green garden twine. When I finished, she sat on the back step. Peter saw him. Yes. And told Celeste. Yes. But not me. No. She looked across the yard. The maple tree from the false invoice cast shade over the garage. I raised him better than that, she said. The sentence contained more pain than anything she had said about Daniel. Daniel had taken money. Peter had watched truth leave the house and called it peace. Grandma cut the garden twine with small silver scissors. Do you want me to ask him again? I said. No. Adrian may need to know. I will tell him. He might want Dad's statement. Peter will not give one. You do not know that? Yes, she said. I do. She stood slowly. Then she looked at me. Mercy is not pretending someone did no harm. I know. It is refusing to become what hurt you. I know. I may need you to remind me. I will. She returned to the tomato plants. The next 4 months passed with a strange kind of normal life. I worked. I repaired the roof on my bungalow. Grandma planted basil, tomatoes, and too many zucchini. We went to the garden center twice. She complained about the price of mulch. The bank continued its review. Adrian finalized the estate documents. Daniel sent no invoices. My mother sent no lasagna. At family events, my name became a space people stepped around. Then, in September, Grandma fell in the kitchen. She had been reaching for a mixing bowl when her left leg gave way. She pressed the emergency button Adrian had insisted she wear. The ambulance arrived in 9 minutes. I reached the hospital in 23. My mother and Daniel were already there. Celeste stood in the hallway with both hands clasped beneath her chin. Daniel spoke to a nurse as if he were in charge. When he saw me, he stopped. What are you doing here? The hospital called me. Why? I am listed as an emergency contact. His face changed. My mother stepped between us. Not now. I had not started anything. Still, the warning was for me. The doctor said Grandma had experienced a mild stroke. She was awake. Her speech was clear. Her left side was weak, but she understood everything. Only 2 visitors were allowed at first. My mother assumed she would go in with Daniel. Grandma asked for me and Adrian. The hallway became silent. Daniel laughed once, without humor. She wants her lawyer in the hospital? The nurse looked at him. She asked for Mr. Cole and Miss Ellison. My mother's eyes filled. I am her daughter-in-law. The nurse remained polite. She made her request clearly. I called Adrian. He arrived 40 minutes later. We entered together. Grandma lay beneath a white blanket, smaller than she had looked that morning. A monitor traced her heartbeat in green lines. Her lipstick was gone. That frightened me more than the machines. She looked at Adrian. Still capable? He smiled. Still difficult. She turned toward me. Count. What? My fingers. She lifted her right hand. 5. My toes? Probably 10. Her mouth moved slightly. A smile. Good. She asked whether the estate documents were complete. Adrian said yes. She asked whether the recording was secure. He said yes. She asked whether the blue ledger was secure. He said nothing. I looked at him. Grandma followed my eyes. Tell her, she said. Adrian adjusted his glasses. The ledger is in the estate file. Relief moved through me, not hidden beneath a floorboard, not in a bank box only Grandma could access, with the lawyer, protected. Grandma closed her eyes. Good. She slept for 10 minutes. Adrian and I sat without speaking. When she woke, she looked toward the door. Celeste? Outside, I said. Let her in. And Daniel? No. My mother entered alone. Her face was pale. She went to the bed and took Grandma's hand. Mama? Grandma's eyes remained on her. You have one chance, she said. My mother began crying immediately. I am so sorry. For what? The question stopped her. She looked at me. Grandma tightened her fingers around Celeste's hand. Do not look at Mara. I am sorry for all the stress. Whose stress? All of ours. No. My mother's mouth trembled. Daniel made a mistake. What mistake? He borrowed money. Without asking. Yes. Then covered it. Celeste said nothing. Then blamed Mara. He was scared. So was I. I know. No. You decided my fear was less important than his. My mother cried harder. The monitor continued its steady sound. Grandma looked tired, but not confused. Tell the truth before I die, she said. My mother covered her mouth. You are not dying. Then you have time. Celeste leaned over the bed. I wanted to protect my son. And Mara? My mother looked at me. I felt nothing I expected. No victory, no relief, only the weight of Grandma needing to ask. I never wanted Mara hurt. Grandma released her hand. That is not the same as caring whether she was. My mother stayed another 5 minutes. She apologized without naming an action. She promised to fix things without saying how. She left the room looking smaller. Grandma watched the door close. Did I waste the chance? She asked. No. I wanted her to say it. I know. She will not. No. Grandma looked at me. People believe the loudest version first. I pulled my chair closer. But records stay after the noise, I said. Her eyes softened. That is better. She recovered enough to return home after 3 weeks of rehabilitation. She walked with a cane. Her left hand remained weaker. Her mind remained sharp. I visited more often, but we added a home care worker named Rosa to help with meals and bathing. My mother objected to the cost. Grandma hired Rosa anyway. Daniel was not allowed inside the house without Rosa, me, or Adrian present. He came twice. The first time, he brought flowers and spoke about forgiveness. The second time, he asked whether Grandma had changed the will again. She told him to leave. Winter came early that year. Grandma's health declined slowly. No dramatic scene, no sudden final speech. More naps, less appetite, shorter walks from the kitchen to the porch. In February, she asked me to bring the brown knitted blanket from the sofa. I placed it over her legs. She touched the edge. You used this the night we counted the money. You were asleep. I knew. You were snoring. I do not snore. You did that night. She smiled. We sat together while snow fell outside the window. Do you regret finding it, she asked. The money? The truth? No. Even now? Especially now. She nodded. Good. Her last clear day came on March 6th. I arrived with coffee from the bakery on Lyle Street. She drank 3 sips. She asked about my roof. She asked whether I had finished painting the spare room. She asked whether I was happy. I told her I was learning how to be. She said that counted. Before I left, she held my hand, not tightly. Enough. You were never the difficult one, she said. I tried to answer. I could not. She looked annoyed by my tears. Do not make this theatrical. I laughed. She closed her eyes. I stayed another hour. Grandma Ruth died 2 days later in her sleep. Rosa found her at 7:15 in the morning. The brown blanket was folded over the chair beside her bed. My mother called me at 7:42. Her voice was controlled. Ruth is gone. Not Grandma, not Mama. Ruth, as though distance could protect her from what remained. I reached the house at 8:10. She is dead. The sentence hit the room harder than a shout. Rosa's face became blank. My father looked down. My mother whispered his name. I walked toward him. I did not move quickly. I did not raise my voice. Leave the drawers closed. You do not own this house. Neither do you. I am the executor. No, Rosa said. Everyone looked at her. She lifted her chin. Mrs. Ruth said Mr. Cole was handling everything. Daniel laughed once. She told the home care worker about her will? She told me who to call when she died. Rosa pointed toward a sheet of paper taped inside the pantry door. Emergency instructions. Doctor. Funeral home. Adrian Cole. Me. Daniel was not listed. My mother reached for the paper. Rosa moved in front of it. Please do not remove anything. The word please did not make it a request. Daniel stared at her, then he looked at me again. You arranged this? No. All of it? No. You got yourself listed everywhere. Grandma made those decisions. She was sick. She was not sick when she hired Adrian. She had a stroke. Months afterward. He picked up the medication basket. What are these? Rosa took it from him. Not yours. For a moment I thought he might argue. Then a car door closed outside. Adrian entered through the open front door carrying a black briefcase. He removed his hat and looked at each of us. Rosa called me. Daniel crossed his arms. Why are you here? Ruth instructed me to secure the property after her death. This is a family home. It is estate property. I am the executor. No, Adrian said. One word. Nothing decorated around it. Daniel's face became red. Since when? Ruth changed her estate plan last year. My mother gripped the back of a kitchen chair. Who is the executor? A corporate fiduciary. Daniel laughed. He looked toward her as if waiting for her to confirm the absurdity. She did not. Why? He asked. Ruth wanted an independent administrator. Because Mara told her to. Adrian placed his briefcase on the kitchen table. I met with Ruth privately on several occasions. That does not answer me. It does. Daniel moved closer. You are saying my grandmother removed me and put some company in charge? Yes. What company? You will receive formal notice. When? After the death certificate is issued and the documents are filed. What does the will say? The beneficiaries will be invited to a reading. This is ridiculous. Adrian's expression did not change. Ruth anticipated you might feel that way. My mother sat down. Her hands had begun trembling. Did she remove Daniel from the will? I will not discuss the terms today. What about Mara? I will not discuss the terms today. Daniel pointed toward me. She already knows. I do not, I said. You expect us to believe Grandma did all this without telling you? Yes. Why would she trust you with everything else and hide the will? Because it was her will. Adrian looked at me briefly. Approval passed across his face. Small, professional. Then it disappeared. He asked everyone to leave except Rosa and me. Daniel refused. Adrian took out his phone. I can ask the police to supervise the securing of the property. That was enough. My mother stood. We do not need strangers involved. Adrian looked at her. That choice remains available to you. My father took his coat from the hall. Daniel remained beside the kitchen table. You cannot keep me out of my grandmother's house. Adrian opened the briefcase. Inside were documents, numbered security seals, and a small digital camera. I am acting under written authority signed by Ruth and witnessed independently. If you remove property or interfere with the inventory, that conduct will be documented. Daniel looked at the seals, then at me. His anger shifted, not gone, redirected. This is what you wanted. Grandma's body had not yet been taken from the house, and he needed me to be the reason he had lost control. I wanted her alive, I said. Nothing in his face moved. My mother closed her eyes. That was the first honest sentence spoken in the house that morning. Daniel left. He slammed the front door hard enough to shake the glass. Adrian waited until the car pulled away. Then he looked at me. Are you all right? No. That is a reasonable answer. Rosa touched my shoulder. I turned toward the hallway. Grandma's bedroom door was closed. A white sheet of paper had been taped across it by the medical examiner's assistant. Do not enter. I counted the letters because counting was easier than understanding. 10. A space. 5. The words looked ordinary. The word "te" held behind them was not. The funeral took place 6 days later. My mother planned most of it before speaking to Adrian. She chose white roses, a pale wooden casket, and a photograph of Grandma taken 12 years earlier at Daniel's wedding. In the photograph, Ruth stood beside Daniel. I was visible only at the edge, half a shoulder, part of a blue dress. My mother said it was the best recent picture. I found another one. Grandma sat on her porch in the dark green cardigan, holding a cup of coffee, looking directly at the camera. She had taken off her glasses because of the glare. The African violets were blooming behind her. I gave the photograph to the funeral director. My mother removed it from the display table. I put it back. She removed it again. The funeral director, a woman named Karen Bell, watched the second exchange. Mrs. Ruth's written instructions requested this photograph, Karen said. My mother stared at her. What written instructions? Karen opened a folder. Grandma had selected the photograph months earlier. She had also requested simple flowers, no open casket, and no religious reading longer than 5 minutes. My mother's white roses had already been delivered. Grandma had requested violets. My mother looked at me. You knew about this? No. Everyone knows except me. The words were meant to sound wounded. They revealed something else. Grandma had stopped trusting her to carry out even the smallest personal choice. I did not arrange it, I said. Then who did? Grandma. My mother looked toward the closed viewing room doors. She planned her funeral behind our backs. It was her funeral. You have an answer for everything. No, I have the same answer. She made her own decisions. My mother pressed her lips together. People will think we ignored her. I understood then. The photograph, the flowers, the readings, none of it was about Grandma. It was about what the choices might say about Celeste. The funeral director kept the porch photograph in the center. The white roses remained because returning them would have created more work. Someone found 4 pots of African violets at a garden store and placed them near the guest book. Grandma would have complained that 2 needed water. I checked. They did. At the service, my father sat beside my mother. Daniel sat on her other side with Brooke and their children. I sat at the end of the row. A space remained between my father and me because he placed his coat there. I do not know whether he noticed. I did. Aunt Lorraine delivered the family remembrance. She spoke about Grandma's humor, her garden, and her devotion to family. She said Ruth had always believed in forgiveness. That word hung in the room. Forgiveness. No mention of truth, no mention of responsibility, only the final comfort requested by people who had not admitted what they had done. Daniel spoke next. He had not been scheduled. He walked to the front and placed one hand on the podium. My grandmother trusted me, he began. My eyes moved toward Adrian. He sat 2 rows behind us. His expression remained neutral. Daniel spoke about helping Ruth with repairs, bills, and difficult decisions. He said her final year had been complicated by misunderstandings and outside pressure. Outside pressure. He did not say my name. He did not need to. Several relatives looked toward me. People believed the loudest version first. He had chosen a funeral to become louder. I hope, Daniel continued, that in the coming days our family can separate Ruth's real wishes from decisions made while she was vulnerable. My mother lowered her head. My father stared forward. Brooke wiped her eyes. The performance was complete. I counted 13 seconds from the moment Daniel returned to his seat until the minister continued. 13 seconds of silence where anyone could have corrected him. No one did. I did not stand. I did not answer. Not there. Not beside Grandma's casket. That was what Daniel wanted. A confrontation he could describe as proof of instability. I stayed seated. After the service, Cousin Nina found me beside the coat rack. I am sorry, she whispered. For Grandma? For all of it. She looked toward Daniel. He should not have said that. No. Why did no one stop him? You were in the room. Her face changed. The same question returned to her. Why had she laughed about the microwave? Why had she stayed quiet at the engagement dinner? Why did everyone wait for someone else to make truth less awkward? I was afraid it would become a scene, she said. It already was. She looked down. I know. That was more honesty than most people had offered. I touched her arm. Thank you for saying it. My mother approached before Nina could answer. The family is gathering at the house. Adrian said no one can enter until the inventory is finished. We are going to my house. I am going home. Her mouth tightened. This is not a day to isolate yourself. I am not isolating myself. You are choosing not to be with family. Yes. The answer surprised her. I put on my coat. She lowered her voice. People will notice. They noticed Daniel's speech too. He was grieving. So was I. You show it differently. That was true. My grief did not make a useful display. I left. At home, I placed Grandma's photograph on my mantel beside the spider plant she had given me. The plant had grown crooked toward the window. I watered it. Then I sat on the floor for almost an hour because the couch felt too far away. The will reading was scheduled for March 28th, 20 days after Grandma died. Adrian's office conference room could hold 14 people. 11 relatives attended. My parents, Daniel and Brooke, Aunt Lorraine, 2 cousins, my father's sister Margaret and her husband, a family friend named Evelyn, whom Grandma had known for 50 years. Me. The corporate executor sent a representative named Simon Price. Adrian's assistant arranged water, tissues, and 12 yellow legal pads no one used. The room smelled like dust and furniture oil, exactly as it had in the memory that would remain with me. I arrived at 1:47 p.m. The meeting was scheduled for 2. Daniel was already there. He wore a charcoal suit and placed a brown folder on the table in front of him. My mother sat beside him in navy blue. My father sat on her other side. The chair across from Daniel was empty. I took it. His eyes followed me. No greeting, no expression, only attention. Adrian entered at 1:58. He carried a black estate file and the same briefcase he had brought to Grandma's house. Simon Price sat near the end of the table. He introduced himself and explained that his firm had accepted the appointment as executor. Daniel interrupted. Before any document is read, I need to raise a serious issue. Adrian looked at the wall clock. 1 p.m. You will have an opportunity to ask questions after the preliminary information. This cannot wait. My mother placed her hand on his arm. He continued. There may have been financial exploitation. Aunt Lorraine inhaled. Not because the idea was new, because it was finally being said in a room where records existed. Adrian remained standing. Who do you believe committed financial exploitation? Daniel looked directly at me. Mara. My father closed his eyes. My mother's hand remained on Daniel's sleeve. Brooke opened the brown folder. Inside were copies of bank statements, the same type Grandma had shown me at the kitchen table. Daniel placed 6 pages in front of Adrian. These transfers total $86,400, the exact figure from Helen Ward's report. Daniel, my mother whispered. Her tone said stop. Her hand said continue. She had access to Grandma's records, Daniel said. She handled the accounts. She isolated Grandma from the rest of us and influenced her to change the will. I did not handle her accounts, I said. He looked at me. You expect us to believe you reviewed everything without access? I reviewed printed records Grandma gave me. You contacted the bank. Grandma contacted the bank. You took files from the house. No. You had the ledger. No. You knew where it was. Not until the hospital. He smiled. A small expression of pity. She always has a clean answer. Adrian sat down. Daniel, are you formally alleging that Mara stole $86,400 from Ruth? Yes. My mother turned toward him. You do not have to use that word. What word? Adrian asked. She looked at the statements. Stole. Is that what you believe happened? My mother pressed her fingertips together. I believe Mara had inappropriate influence. That is a different allegation. It is connected. How? She looked at me. Ruth changed after Mara became involved. I visited Grandma for years, I said. Daniel pushed one statement toward Adrian. The payments began around the same period she started asking about the will. I never asked about the will. You told Grandma to remove me as executor. No. You knew Adrian was preparing documents. I knew Grandma met with him. I did not know the terms. You expect us to believe she trusted you with the investigation, but not the inheritance? Yes. Why? Because one involved protecting her money while she was alive. The other was her private decision. He leaned back. Convenient. Adrian looked at the copied statements. Where did you obtain these? From Grandma's files. When? Daniel paused. Before she died. Did she give them to you? She had asked me to manage her finances. That did not answer the question. I looked at Adrian. The same phrase. The answer I had repeated for months. Daniel's fingers touched the edge of the folder. I had authorized access. Your access was removed in January of last year because Mara pressured her. Before your access was removed, did Ruth authorize you to remove account records from her home? My father's face lost color. Daniel noticed. So did I. This is not about me, Daniel said. It concerns the source of the documents you are presenting. They are copies. Who made them? I do not remember. Adrian turned to my mother. Did you remove a brown folder from Ruth's kitchen? Celeste became very still. By accident. Did Daniel return it? Yes. Were any pages copied while the folder was outside the house? I do not know. Daniel looked at her. My mother saw the warning too late. Adrian had separated them without moving a chair. Did you make these copies? He asked Daniel again. I may have. At whose direction? No one's. Before or after your access to the account was removed. Daniel's face hardened. You are treating me like a criminal. No, I am establishing the history of the documents you used to accuse another person of theft. The room remained quiet. 14 p.m. I saw the time reflected faintly in the glass front cabinet behind Adrian. Daniel opened the folder again. These statements show transfers from Grandma's account. Yes, Adrian said. Mara knew about them. Yes. She had the knowledge required to move the money. Knowledge that a transfer occurred is not knowledge of the password used to authorize it. She could have obtained the password. How? She was in the house. So were you. Daniel struck the table with his palm. Not hard. Enough. Water moved inside the glasses. My mother flinched. I am not the one who benefited from the new will. The sentence changed the room. Until then, he had accused me of taking money. Now he admitted his accusation was tied to what? He believed Grandma left me. Adrian placed the statements into a straight stack. Have you seen the will? No. Then how do you know Mara benefited? Daniel looked toward my father. My father did not look back. Grandma told people. Which people? No answer. Names again. The thing my family never wanted to provide. Adrian turned toward me. Mara, do you want to respond to the allegation before it is entered into the estate record? I looked at the 11 faces around the table, some suspicious, some ashamed, some curious. Aunt Lorraine held a tissue but had not cried. Cousin Nina looked at me. She did not look away. I did not take Grandma's money, I said. I did not access her online account. I did not create transfers, invoices, or checks. Grandma asked me to help organize records after she noticed money missing. I encouraged her to obtain independent legal and financial advice. I did not prepare her will, choose her executor, or tell her who should inherit. Daniel shook his head. Practiced. Yes, I said. Because this accusation has been prepared for a year. My mother whispered. Mara. I looked at her. What? Her mouth opened. No words came. Adrian took out a blank form. Daniel, I need to confirm the allegation precisely. Are you asserting that Mara stole the $86,400 reflected in these transfers? Yes. Are you asserting that she manipulated Ruth into changing her estate plan? Yes. Are you asking the executor to investigate and potentially suspend any distribution to Mara? Yes. Brooke touched his shoulder. He did not react. Adrian wrote for almost a minute. Then he turned the page toward Daniel. Read this and sign if it accurately states your allegation. Daniel read it. My mother leaned closer. She whispered something I could not hear. He signed, 2:19 p.m. Adrian gave the page to Simon Price. Simon signed as witness. Then Adrian closed the black estate file. I need a brief moment. He walked to the office door and locked it. Not dramatically. The latch made a quiet click. He returned to the table and placed his briefcase beside the estate file. Daniel looked annoyed. What are you doing? Following Ruth's instructions. He entered a 4-digit code. The case opened. Inside were 2 sealed envelopes, a blue leather ledger, and a small black drive. My mother made a sound. Not a word. A breath that stopped halfway. Daniel stared at the ledger. His face changed as though someone had removed the floor beneath his chair. You had that? He asked. Adrian did not answer. He lifted the ledger and placed it in front of Simon. The original was delivered to my office on April 19th of last year. It has remained in secured storage since that date. Simon examined the security seal. He read the number aloud. Adrian checked it against a chain of custody form. The numbers matched. He placed the ledger beside the copy. Bank statements Daniel had brought. 1 original record. 1 collection of copies removed from Grandma's home. The difference did not need explanation. Adrian picked up the black drive. Ruth made a recorded statement on April 19th. The recording was witnessed by Helen Ward, an independent forensic accountant, and Rebecca Moss, a retired probate judge. Ruth instructed me not to play it during the reading unless a person formally accused Mara of theft, coercion, manipulation, or financial abuse. No one moved. I felt my heartbeat in my throat. I had known the condition. Knowing was different from sitting inside it. Daniel looked at my mother. She looked toward the door. Locked. Not to imprison anyone, to keep the record complete. This is a setup, Daniel said. Adrian connected the drive to a laptop. No. You knew I would say something. Ruth believed you might. You encouraged this. I documented her instructions. My mother stood. I do not think we need to watch private recordings. Adrian looked at her. You may leave. She glanced at the locked door. He stood and unlocked it. You are free to go. Simon will note that you declined to remain after the formal allegation was entered. She did not move. Daniel said, Sit down. She sat. Adrian turned off the conference room lights. The screen on the wall brightened. For 1 second, it showed only the empty room where the recording had been made. A table. A plain gray wall. A glass of water. Then Grandma entered the frame. Dark green cardigan. Silver brooch. Lipstick. She sat straight in the chair and looked directly at the camera. My mother stopped breathing. 1 second. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. At 9, she inhaled sharply. Grandma began. My name is Ruth Elaine Ellison. I am 79 years old. Today is April 19th. I am making this statement voluntarily, without Mara Ellison present, and without any beneficiary participating in its preparation. Her voice filled the conference room, clear, measured, alive in the only way available to us. She stated the address of her home. She named her late husband. She named her son, Peter. She named Daniel and me. She identified Adrian, Helen, and Rebecca. Then she explained why she was recording. I have reason to believe that after my death, members of my family may say Mara influenced me, stole from me, or caused me to change my will. Those statements are false. Daniel leaned forward. This cannot be. Adrian lifted one hand. The recording continued. Grandma described the first unexplained transfers. She held up the original statements. She gave dates and amounts. She described the blue ledger and why she created it. She explained that she had asked me to review the records because of my profession. Mara did not request access to my online banking. She advised me to obtain printed documents directly from the bank. She did not take original records. She did not ask what she would inherit. She repeatedly told me to seek independent advice. Helen appeared briefly in the recording and identified her report. Grandma held up a copy. She explained the $86,400. The exact movement of funds: $18,500 to Hearthline Consulting, $27,900 to Elston Residential Services, $15,000 through a payment service later transferred to Trevor Pike, $12,500 in cashier's checks. The remaining funds through linked accounts. Daniel's face became rigid. Grandma continued. Daniel told me these payments were for repairs. The work did not occur. Some invoices described trees that were not removed, inspections that did not happen, and materials that were not delivered. A photograph appeared on the screen. The maple tree beside her garage. The date printed below it was weeks after the supposed removal. Aunt Lorraine covered her mouth. Grandma held up a copy of the invoice. According to this paper, the tree cost me $3,400 to remove. It remains alive. I consider that one of its better qualities. Even then, even in a legal recording. Grandma. A brief sound moved through the room, not laughter exactly. Grief remembering humor. Then the recording changed. Audio from one of Daniel's calls played. His voice. I moved money temporarily. Trevor has a deal closing. You will have it back before you need it. Grandma's recorded voice answered. I did not give permission. You would have if I explained it. That is not permission. Another call. Daniel again. If you report this, you destroy me. Grandma replied. You are asking me to protect what you did by pretending it did not happen. My mother placed both hands over her face. Daniel stared at the screen. The next section concerned her. Grandma described Celeste's visit with the soup and orchid. She explained the missing folder. Then the recording played my mother's voice from a phone call with Grandma. We can say it was a bookkeeping mistake. Mara does not have to know every detail. Grandma answered, Mara already knows enough. My mother's voice became lower. Then you need to be careful what you tell her. People will think she put ideas in your head. Grandma paused the audio within the recording. She looked at the camera. That was the first time I understood Mara was not merely being excluded. She was being prepared as an explanation. The words entered me slowly. An explanation. That was what I had been to my family. Not a daughter, not a granddaughter, a place to put consequences. Grandma described the missing ledger page. She stated that Daniel had known the ledger's location. She stated that Peter later admitted seeing Daniel leave the house with a blue folder or book. My father's head dropped. The recording did not accuse him of theft. It said something worse for him. Peter saw enough to ask questions and chose not to. I love my son. Love does not require me to describe his silence as inicky. My father made a sound. His hand covered his eyes. Grandma continued. I did not change my will because Mara asked me. She never asked me. I changed it because an executor must protect an estate, and Daniel treated my accounts as a source of temporary rescue for himself. She named Simon's firm as executor. Then she explained the distribution. Her home was to be sold. A fixed amount would go to the local library, where she had volunteered for 11 years. A separate amount would establish the Ruth Ellison Financial Safety Fund through a community nonprofit supporting older adults who needed help organizing records before exploitation became impossible to prove. Rosa would receive $25,000. Evelyn would receive Grandma's jewelry collection. My father would receive a protected income distribution. Not because she trusted his judgment, because she did not want my mother controlling the entire amount. My mother lowered her hands. Her face had gone pale. Daniel's share was addressed last. I intended to leave Daniel $300,000 and the contents of my investment account. I have changed that decision. Any amount he would otherwise receive shall first be reduced by the unauthorized funds, professional fees, bank expenses, and estate costs connected to recovering them. Daniel whispered, No. The recording continued. If restitution and costs exceed his share, he will receive nothing. I do not make this choice to punish him. I make it because an inheritance is not permission to take early. Adrian looked at no one. Simon wrote one line on his legal pad. Grandma then discussed me. I felt every person in the room become attentive. I leave Mara my remaining residuary estate after the gifts, expenses, and protected distributions described in my will. Daniel closed his eyes. My mother stared at me. Grandma did not stop there. Mara is not receiving this because she found missing money. She is receiving it because she has shown me throughout her life that responsibility does not require an audience. My vision blurred. I looked down at my hands. Grandma's voice continued. She bought me a microwave and kept the receipt. She returned $5 to a cashier when she was 8. She knocks even when she has a key. Those details may appear small. Character usually does. Cousin Nina began crying. Not quietly. She pressed a tissue beneath both eyes. Grandma looked directly into the camera. If this recording is being played, then someone has accused Mara after I am no longer present to answer. I am answering now. The screen showed no movement except the rise and fall of her breathing. Mara did not steal from me. Each word, separate. Mara did not manipulate me. A pause. Mara did not isolate me. Another pause. She listened when other people explained me to myself. My mother's shoulders shook. Grandma continued. The people making the accusation may say I was confused. For that reason, Judge Moss and Ms. Ward will know, who confirm their independent observations. Rebecca Moss appeared on the recording. She explained that she had interviewed Grandma alone. She confirmed that Ruth understood her assets, family relationships, estate decisions, and the consequences of each change. Helen confirmed the financial evidence. Adrian appeared last and confirmed that I had never attended a will planning meeting. Then Grandma returned to the frame. She looked tired by then, still composed. This is not revenge, she said. It is a record. The sentence held the entire room. Truth is a scalpel, not a hammer. It separates what happened from what people hoped would be believed. She folded her hands. People believe the loudest version first. Daniel's eyes moved toward the screen. The line he had used at Nina's engagement dinner, the line he had borrowed as a warning. Grandma's expression softened. But loud is only first. It is not final. There it was, the inversion. The thing she had built all year. Records remain after the noise ends, she said. Let this one remain. The screen went black. No one spoke. The lights remained off. The reflection of 12 people appeared faintly on the dark screen. I counted the silence. 10 seconds. 20. At 32, Adrian switched on the lights. My mother looked as though she had aged during the recording. Daniel stood. That video was manipulated. Adrian sat down. You watched an uninterrupted certified copy. She was coached. By whom? You. Judge Moss interviewed her separately. She hated me. She left you a substantial inheritance before the unauthorized transfers were discovered. She did not understand the business deal. She understood that she had not given permission. It was going to be repaid. Simon spoke for the first time. Was it repaid? Daniel looked at him. The investment failed. That was not the question. No. Has any amount been returned since Ruth demanded it? Daniel's jaw tightened. I offered. How much? I do not remember. Simon opened his folder. The bank recovered $19,700 from frozen merchant accounts. Your attorney later proposed a repayment of $12,000 in exchange for a release. Ruth declined. Brooke turned toward Daniel. You told me it was settled. He did not answer. You said Trevor paid it back. Not now. Her face changed. Not because she discovered he had taken Grandma's money. Because she discovered how much of his story to her had also been false. My mother stood. Ruth wanted the family torn apart. I looked at her. Even now, even after Grandma answered from beyond the room, Celeste needed the person who named the harm to become its cause. No, I said. She turned toward me. You got everything. I did not get Grandma. That is not what I meant. I know. Her face hardened. You sat there while she recorded that. I was not there. You knew. I knew she made a statement. I did not know what she said. You expect me to believe you never asked? Yes. Why would you not ask? Because she asked me to trust her. The word stopped her. Trust had always meant obedience in my mother's vocabulary. Grandma and I had used it differently. Adrian opened one sealed envelope. This contains Ruth's final will. The recording was supplementary evidence and instruction. I will now read the relevant provisions. Daniel moved toward the door. Simon said, You may leave, but the reading and estate process will continue. Daniel stopped. His hand rested on the doorknob. He wanted control. Leaving would surrender the room. He returned to his chair. The will matched the recording. Every gift, every condition, every reduction. The estimated estate, after the sale of the house and the investment accounts, was worth a little over $1.4 million. The family had guessed. No one had known exactly. Daniel's original share would have been large. After subtracting the missing funds, recovery expenses, Helen's fees, bank charges, and legal costs, his remaining distribution was projected to be $41,600. But the will included another condition. He had to sign a truthful accounting of the transfers and cooperate with recovery efforts. If he refused, his share would pass to the Financial Safety Fund. He laughed when Adrian read it. You want me to confess? No, Adrian said. Ruth wanted you to account. What is the difference? Truth. Daniel pushed back his chair. This is blackmail. Simon shook his head. You are free to decline the inheritance. My father looked at Daniel. For the first time that afternoon, he spoke directly to him. Tell them. Daniel stared at him. What? Tell them what happened. My mother gripped my father's arm. Peter. He removed her hand. A small movement. Years late, still real. I saw you take the book, he said. The room became quiet again. Daniel's face changed. You do not know what you saw. I saw the blue cover beneath your coat. You said it was a folder. I lied. My mother whispered his name. My father kept looking at Daniel. You came out of Ruth's side door after Christmas. You put it in your car. Celeste told me Ruth had asked you to take it. She did. No, my father said. She did not. My mother stood. You do not know that. I asked Ruth at the hospital. I looked at him. That conversation had happened without my knowledge. My father continued. She said she never gave it to him. Daniel pointed toward me. She turned you against us too. My father looked at me. No, I saw it. I stayed quiet. The honesty arrived fully this time, not because it could save Grandma, not because it could repair me, because the recording had removed every place left to hide. I thought I was keeping peace, he said. I was protecting a lie. My mother stepped away from him. You are humiliating your son. He humiliated himself. The words surprised everyone, especially my father. He looked down afterward, almost ashamed of having said something clear. Daniel turned toward Brooke. We are leaving. She did not stand. Did you use the money for the tax bill? Brooke. Did you? He looked around the room. Every exit required truth. Yes. Her face folded. And the car? Yes. You told me the commission paid for it. I was going to replace everything. With what? The deal. What deal? Trevor had investors. Did you give Trevor all of it? Daniel looked away. Brooke understood. Some of the money had never been invested. It had maintained the life Daniel displayed. The house. The car. The image of success. My mother went to him. We will work it out. Brooke looked at her. You knew. Celeste stopped. You came to our house the night he got locked out of the account, Brooke continued. You told me Grandma was confused. I was trying to protect the children. No, you were protecting him. My mother began to cry. The familiar response. This time no one moved to comfort her, not even Aunt Lorraine. That may have been the moment Celeste finally understood the room could no longer be rearranged. At 3:46 p.m., the will reading ended. Simon collected the copied statements Daniel had brought. Adrian copied the signed allegation form. Daniel refused to sign the accounting that day. He left with my mother. Brooke remained behind for 12 minutes to speak with Simon. My father stood near the window. Aunt Lorraine approached me. Her tissue was torn into small pieces inside her hand. I am sorry, she said. I looked at her. For what? She swallowed. For believing Celeste. That is broad. For repeating that you were after the house. Who did you tell? Her eyes lowered. Margaret, Nina, Evelyn. Some people at church. How many? I do not know. Did you ever ask me? No. Did you ask Grandma? No. Why did you believe it? She looked toward the table. Celeste sounded certain. People believe the loudest version first. There it was in its simplest form, not evidence. Certainty. I cannot tell you it is fine, I said. I know. I am not ready to forgive it. I understand. But I appreciate that you named what you did. She nodded. It was not reconciliation. It was a correct record. That was enough for the day. Cousin Nina hugged me before leaving. She did not say I told you so. She had never told me. She said, I should have spoken sooner. Yes, I said. She accepted the answer. Evelyn approached last. She placed a small box in my hands. Ruth left this with me before the hospital. Inside was the silver brooch, the one Grandma wore in the recording, the one she had worn at my fete. There's birthday dinner. She said the jewelry collection was mine, Evelyn said. But this was yours. I touched the cool metal. Why did she not put it in the will? Evelyn smiled. She said not every good thing needs a lawyer. I laughed and cried at the same time. It was not dignified. Grandma would have forgiven me. Probably. My father waited until everyone else left. He stood beside the conference table with his coat folded over one arm. "I am sorry," he said. I had imagined that sentence from him many times. In my imagination, it changed something immediately. In reality, it arrived like a letter mailed to an address where I no longer lived. "What are you sorry for?" He looked tired. "For staying quiet." "What else?" "For letting your mother blame you." "What else?" His eyes filled. "For knowing Daniel took the book and pretending I was not sure." "What else?" He looked toward the dark screen. "For asking you to fix what he did." I waited. There was more. He knew. "For making you feel less important than your brother." The words came out unevenly. He had not practiced them. That helped. "I do not know what to do with your apology," I said. "You do not have to do anything." That was the first gift he had given me without asking for something back. I nodded. "I cannot be around Mom right now." "I understand. I cannot listen to you defend her." "I will not." "You may think you mean that today." He accepted the truth of it. "I know." I looked at the map behind his office in my memory. The gift he had hung where he could see it. The father who had seen me. The husband who had chosen not to. Both were real. Mercy did not require me to select the better version and erase the other. "I will speak to you again," I said. "Not today." His shoulders lowered. "Thank you." I watched him leave. Adrian remained at the table organizing documents. Simon had gone to make copies. I sat in the same chair where Daniel had accused me. The statements remained stacked in front of me. "You knew this would happen," I said. Adrian did not look up. "Ruth believed it might." "Did you?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because Daniel had spent a year building an explanation for the transfers. He could have stayed quiet. He could have. But then the recording would not have played." "No. He needed to accuse me because he thought stopping my inheritance would restore his." Adrian closed the estate file. "That is my assessment." I looked toward the black screen. Grandma knew him better than I wanted her to. She also knew you. I touched the brooch in my palm. She should have been here. Yes. Nothing wise followed. Some grief should not be turned into a lesson too quickly. We sat in silence. After the will reading, consequences did not arrive all at once. They came in packets. A certified letter, a bank notice, a call from an attorney, a signature requested by Friday, a house listed for sale, a family photograph removed from a mantel. Daniel hired a lawyer and threatened to contest the will. His lawyer reviewed the capacity interviews, the video, Helen's report, Adrian's notes, the bank records, and the signed allegation Daniel had made before the recording played. The threat became smaller, then it disappeared. Trevor agreed to a settlement after the estate prepared a civil claim. He repaid $31,000 through the sale of equipment and a lien on property. Daniel signed the accounting 2 days before the deadline. It was not an apology. It was 8 pages of numbers. Dates, transfers, excuses reduced to entries. He admitted moving money without Grandma's approval. He admitted using false invoices provided by Trevor to make the transfers appear connected to home repairs. He admitted keeping $21,000 for personal expenses. The estate recovered enough that Daniel eventually received a small distribution, $9,940. He had expected hundreds of thousands. He sent me an email the day the payment cleared. "I hope you are happy." I read it once. Then I placed it in a folder with the estate correspondence. I did not answer. My mother called 37 times during the first month. I counted. She left messages that moved through every version of herself. Angry, wounded, practical, forgiving. She said Grandma had manipulated all of us. She said Daniel had been under pressure. She said I had won. She said families should not keep score. She said I would regret being alone. On the 38th call, I answered. "What do you want?" I asked. To hear my daughter's voice. "You have heard it in the messages I returned through Adrian. That is not a relationship." "No." Her breathing changed. "I made mistakes." "Name one." "Mara." "Name one." "I believed Daniel." "What did you do because you believed him?" "I tried to protect him." "What did you do to me?" She began crying. "I never meant—" "What did you do?" Silence. Long enough for the old room to begin forming around us. I stayed where I was. Finally, she said, "I told people you were manipulating Ruth." "Who?" "Family." "Names." "Lorraine, Margaret, Nina, Evelyn." "Anyone else?" "Some friends." "How many?" "I do not know." "Did you tell them Daniel moved the money?" "No." "Have you corrected the story?" "I do not know how." "The same way you spread it." "Call them." She became quiet. That would humiliate him. There it was. Still. Even after everything. Daniel's humiliation mattered more than my name. "I cannot have a relationship with you while you protect the lie," I said. "It is not a lie now. Everyone knows." "Not everyone. People will talk." "You made sure of that." "What do you want from me?" "The truth without me pulling it out one piece at a time." "I said I made mistakes." "That is fog." "I am asking for the road." She did not understand, or did not want to. "I love you," she said. "I believe you feel something you call love." She gasped. The sentence was crueler than I intended. I almost took it back. Then I remembered Grandma in the hospital. "You did not want Mara hurt is not the same as caring whether she was." "I need distance," I said. "For how long?" "I do not know." "You are punishing me." "No. I am protecting the part of my life you keep rearranging." She recognized Grandma's language. Her crying stopped. "You and Ruth talked about me." "Yes." "I was always the outsider." "No. You kept moving everyone else outside." I ended the call. For 6 months we had no contact. My father wrote letters, actual letters. No pressure, no defense of Celeste. He described small things. The maple tree at Grandma's house. The water system map in his office. A recipe he had tried and ruined. In the 4th letter, he wrote that he had started counseling. In the 5th, he said my mother refused to attend. In the 7th, he said he had moved into a small apartment near the river. I met him for coffee after that. He looked thinner, older, more present. We did not repair everything. We began with 1 hour, then another. He never asked me to forgive my mother. That was how I knew something had changed. Brooke separated from Daniel the following autumn, not because of the will alone. The recording opened other questions. Credit cards, unpaid taxes, loans she had not known about. A second mortgage he claimed was paperwork for refinancing. She found the pattern because Grandma's record taught her where to look. I helped her find an independent accountant. I did not review the records myself. Clean process, always. The estate sold Grandma's house for $312,000. On the final day before closing, I walked through it alone. The room sounded larger without furniture. The Apple clock was gone. Evelyn had taken it, as Grandma requested. The kitchen cabinet stood open. I ran my hand over the shelf where the ledger had once rested. In the backyard, the maple tree moved in the wind, still alive, still expensive. I sat on the back step where Grandma had tied the tomato plants. For a moment, I could smell coffee, beeswax, and cinnamon gum. Memory can be unfair that way. It returns a person whole for half a second then leaves you with the room. I did not buy the house. Several relatives assumed I would. I wanted my memories without becoming responsible for preserving every wall. A young couple bought it. They had a baby and a large dog. At closing, they asked whether the maple tree was healthy. "It is stubborn," I said. They smiled. "That sounds healthy." I used part of my inheritance to repair my bungalow. New roof, new water heater, windows that did not rattle in winter. I kept the tilted floors. Grandma liked them. The Ruth Ellison Financial Safety Fund opened the following spring. Its first office was a small room inside the Community Libra, RISO. It provided free document organizing sessions, referrals to independent professionals, and simple record kits for older adults. No legal advice, no financial promises, only help creating a clear history. The first kit included a blue ledger, not leather. That would have cost too much. Grandma would have objected. At the opening, Adrian gave a short speech. Rosa stood beside me. Evelyn wore Grandma's pearl earrings. My father came alone. Cousin Nina volunteered at the registration table. Aunt Lorraine attended and handed me a list of every person she remembered telling the false story. She had called all of them. Beside each name, she wrote the date of the correction. I looked at the list. "This does not erase it," she said. "No, I know." I folded the paper and placed it in my bag. It did not erase the harm. It documented the repair. That mattered. My mother did not attend. She sent flowers. White roses. The card said, "Family is always family." I donated the flowers to a nursing home. Months later, she wrote me a letter. For the first time, she named what she had done. She wrote that she had removed Grandma's bank folder. She wrote that she had copied the statements for Daniel. She wrote that she knew he had moved money before she came to my house with the lasagna. She wrote that she helped him prepare the story that I had influenced Grandma because she believed protecting her son meant preventing consequences. She wrote that she understood now that she had sacrificed one child's name to protect the other child's image. That sentence was the first honest thing she had given me. I did not invite her back into my life immediately. Mercy is not an unlocked door. Sometimes it is simply refusing to seal the door forever. We exchanged letters, nothing more for almost a year. Then we met in a public garden. She looked smaller without a room to control. We spoke for 40 minutes. She did not cry. She did not mention how hard the year had been for her. She did not ask me to forgive Daniel. She said, "I called you cold because you would not help me hide what I knew." Yes. "I called you lonely because your independence frightened me." Yes. "I said you wanted the inheritance because I knew Daniel wanted it." Yes. Each answer remained simple. She did not argue. At the end, she asked whether she could hug me. I said no. Her face changed. Then she nodded. That was the first boundary she accepted, without turning it into a wound. We met again 3 months later. Our relationship is not restored. It is being tested in small, honest pieces. That is enough. I have not spoken to Daniel since the will reading. He sent one apology through his lawyer after Brooke filed for divorce. It said he regretted that the situation became so painful. Not what he did, the situation, the fog again. I did not respond. People sometimes ask whether I feel guilty that he lost most of his inheritance. I do not. He did not lose it because I found the transfers. He lost it because he made them, because he covered them, because he accused me after Grandma gave him every opportunity to tell the truth. The recording did not create his consequences. It kept him from giving them my name. That difference matters. If you have stayed with me this far, comment the word record. Not because every family needs a file against one another, but because truth deserves somewhere safe to live when memory becomes convenient. Subscribe if quiet vindication speaks to you, and remember that dignity is not the same as endless silence. I still keep the silver brooch in a small wooden box. I wear it once a year on Grandma's birthday. I still have the envelope she gave me for the first thing that broke in my bungalow. The writing has faded. Washing machine hose, $38. Kitchen faucet, $96.40. Remaining, $65.43. I never spent the rest. Some records matter because they prove a crime. Some matter because they prove love paid attention. For most of my life, I believed being calm and absorbing whatever the loudest person needed me to carry. Grandma taught me something different. Calm is not surrender, dignity is not disappearance, and silence is only noble when it is freely chosen, not when someone else depends on it to keep a lie alive. People believe the loudest version first, but first is not final. The truth may enter late. It may arrive in a sealed file, a worn blue ledger, or the steady voice of a woman everyone assumed would no longer be able to answer. When it arrives, it does not need to shout, it only needs to remain. That is my story. Covered them. Because he accused me after Grandma gave him every opportunity to tell the truth. The recording did not create his consequences. It kept him from giving them my name. That difference matters. If you have stayed with me this far, comment the word record. Not because every family needs a file against one another, but because truth deserves somewhere safe to live when memory becomes convenient. Subscribe if quiet vindication speaks to you, and remember that dignity is not the same as endless silence. I still keep the silver brooch in a small wooden box. I wear it once a year on Grandma's birthday. I still have the envelope she gave me for the first thing that broke in my bungalow. The writing has faded. Washing machine hose, $38. Kitchen faucet, $96.40. Remaining, $65.43.